Hey there, Gaming Outsider listeners. On this week's episode, Zack, CB, and I discuss video game documentaries and share some of our favorites. In news, we recap Sony's State of Play presentation from the week. You'll also finally hear Alyssa's impressions of Martha is Dead, and Kevin stops by to talk about Rollers of the Realm Reunion and Kung Fu Kickball, both on PC. And as a special treat, Aaron Peterson from the Hollywood Outsider stops by to let us know how the Halo TV series is. Yes, he saw the premiere. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 389 of the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, March 14th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
Just Elden Ring all day, every day, man.
Yeah, I'll be there soon. I'm still finishing up my game, so but we'll talk about it. I actually did dip my toe in a little bit, so I'm sure we'll talk about that.
I'm very curious for your thoughts.
Yeah. Also joining us, a guy who's, almost as far as anybody I know in Elden Ring is Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. How you doing?
Yeah, I went overboard.
You think?
Shh, quiet. You're not allowed. No talking.
What happened to Dying Light 2? What happened to,
to be fair, I didn't think I was going to like Elden Ring.
Yeah. So you just bought it?
Well, because you were like, are you going to buy it? Because I kind of want to play it.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. I have the text message still, sir.
I asked, but you did not convey that as. I was just like, hey, are you going to buy it? Because I was considering doing it myself. But
that's how I imagine all your text messages sound.
Yeah, that's not how I sound.
Did you guys see the sales charts, the MPD for February?
No.
So it was 7 days in the month. Elden Ring was number one, but not only that. But MPD is reporting.
You mean March?
Yeah, no, February. It came out February 25th.
Oh, did? Okay, my bad.
Anyway, did you not know what date it is?
I mean, we're so far into March that I was not registering that the game's been out for over 2 weeks. Well, 3 weeks now, I guess.
You threw me off. Anyway, it came out February 25th, but MPD is reporting that it's the best-selling debut of the past 12 months, which include the last 12 months had a Call of Duty, a Madden, a Mario,
a Halo. Although Halo was on Game Pass.
So I think Elden Ring is yeah. I'm off of my prediction that Horizon would also Elden Ring. But yeah, man, Elden Ring is a general cultural moment for gamers, it would seem.
Yeah, I was saying this last week, and I kind of feel bad for Horizon Forbidden West.
Right. Because
the same thing happened last time with Breath of the Wild, where, the week after, nobody cared about Horizon anymore, except for me. I mean, some people do, obviously, but I feel like the game is just getting so overshadowed. It's still really quality, but people's attention were definitely turned. Well, let's get into it, CB. You've been, all three of us have played it. I just barely scratched the surface, so I guess we'll start with you, CB. I think I'm more shocked than you are that you were digging this game as much as you are.
Yeah, 54 hours.
I don't see how. I think I've put 45 hours in, and I've been playing since the 25th.
I've been playing a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you and I talked before the show. I've actually played against and beaten some of the bosses that you haven't even. Right.
Which speaks to the open nature of the game, right? Because I have beaten bosses that you have not seen yet.
Yeah, okay. So to be fair, this is like the first Soulsborne game that I've truly given a good shake.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hooked, like legitimately hooked.
Time to play Bloodborne.
Yeah, now that you've got that down, you'll probably enjoy Bloodborne a lot more than I did going into that as my first.
Yeah. And I mean, some of these dungeons, man.
To your guys' point, I started and I went in a weird direction when I started it because I'm only like 2 or 3 hours. I wanted to see what everybody was talking about, and then I intended to go back to Horizon and then get back to it after I beat Horizon. But I wound up getting something that a buddy of mine said he didn't get until 10 hours into the game. So, yeah, the open world nature of this is just kind of crazy.
Is it an item?
No, it's the horse.
Oh, yeah, you can get the horse in 40 minutes if you go the right way.
Well, that's what I did, but I didn't do it knowing that.
It's just funny. No, your buddy is funny because why didn't he just follow the light?
Yeah, see, I did the same thing and I got the horse right away.
I didn't know that. I didn't follow. I wasn't even realizing that the light was a thing.
Okay.
I was not following it. I was just wandering aimlessly.
Nobody's coming at you. We're coming at your friend.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. But I don't know. I was pretty excited. But anyway,
what level are you, Zach?
I think I just hit level 70. I want to say.
Okay, because I just hit level 56.
Okay. What are you doing with all your runes, bro?
I lose a lot of runes.
Oh, okay.
Mostly because I'm going through and I actually have a checklist of all the bosses in each area, and I've been ticking them off.
Cheating.
Well, he's making his own fun.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. It's not cheating.
Okay.
But again, I've never really played a Souls game, so I'm trying to learn mechanics on how a lot of these work, and I'm failing miserably in some areas. I still have no use for magic. I'm only one-handed sword meleeing my way through this game, and I am loving every minute of it.
Dude, I'm rocking twin daggers, and it's something else. I've never done that before in one of these games, and it's hella fun.
I do have one of the twin blade swords, which
big ol' sword.
I absolutely love because I saw a TikTok earlier that there's a spell that you can put on it to make it look like Darth Maul's lightsaber. So I'm just like, I want to do this. I have a jellyfish shield.
Oh, that's cool. I don't have that.
So, but that's the thing. This game is so stupidly huge.
It's insane. Every time you think it's done growing, it grows bigger. It's unfathomable. But I like its approach to open world because to get to those different areas, you do have to kind of go through little funnels. And that's nice because it kind of gives you a direction. It'll be giant open area, then you have to get through this dungeon, and then giant open area. But the only way you get to the other one is by going through this little dungeon. So it kind of funnels you around a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's getting into the capital, I know, is like that.
Right.
But,
or the castle after Margit.
Yeah. But I did find there's multiple ways into the academy.
Right.
Which I was like, it's so cool that they've left it so open like that, but so many different branching pathways that you can do.
It's staggering. It's insane when you just find a random dungeon and then you find, an item in it that just works for your build so well that you're just like, well, I've fundamentally changed the way I'm playing this game.
Yeah,
it's insane, and there's nothing that leads you there. It's wild.
Yeah, and some of the dungeons, the heroes' graves, I'm having a blast trying to find my way through those. Are
those ones that filled with traps and stuff?
Yeah.
Those suck. in the right ways. You feel like Indiana. You feel like Lara Croft or Indiana Jones.
Oh, that first one, right under the opening area.
Yeah.
That you have to come back to. That thing was an utter nightmare until I realized there's a specific spot that if you go down a hole, it's like, oh look, it made this so much easier.
It rewards your powers of observation.
Yeah, it really does. I'm shocked, utterly astounded that I am loving this game this much.
Which is interesting because you must not have given the other games a big shake because mechanically they're all, especially the Dark Souls games, are identical to Elden Ring in terms of play. I mean, there's more build options here. It's actually unfathomable the amount of ways you could play this game, but the combat and stuff, it's not dissimilar from Dark Souls.
Well, to be fair, there is one additional thing that this has that Dark Souls doesn't, which is the spirit ashes.
Right, summons, yeah.
Because I still kind of suck, so having somebody that's overly powered sitting right next to me is definitely helping. Because my spirit ash is a +7.
Which I think speaks to the game's design. I think it wants you to summon things and have co-op and stuff because, especially, there are so many bosses that are multiple enemies.
Yeah,
I think the game is really trying to encourage playing with other people this time. And even like even the menu music feels like an army rising up.
Yeah.
Or it's worth like it just I think this game wants you to win, unlike other Dark Souls games.
Yeah, I could say that. I will say that there's been a few bosses that I've run into though that do have like some abilities that make it like you have to change your play style, which I think is really cool. Like there's the crystal bosses, which a one-handed edged weapon is completely useless against.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, well, I'll have to figure this out. But I'm loving this, man. Like I really hope I can get all the way through this.
Well, I mean, you're going at a good clip.
Yeah, but I've officially hit like my first wall, like true. Like Margit took me like about 15 tries, but the tree sentinel that you and I were talking about, the draconic one, that dude just pounds me like stupidly hard.
So it's interesting because I beat him on my first try. But that's how these games go. Is that yeah, which I know I've talked about before. Where like there'll be a boss where you one shot it and it took me 3 hours. You know, it's just how these things go.
Yeah, I think the design is like utterly brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's disappointing when you. And I guess this is kind of a weird problem that's only caused by the open world, but it's definitely a bummer when you like get to the end of a dungeon and it's just a repeat of a boss you've already fought elsewhere.
Yeah, I've hit that with there's been a few bosses that I've ran into 3 times now.
Yeah, or like every tree has the same avatar of the Erd-tree boss or whatever. And I get it, it's open world, so it's just different. I should have different expectations than a standard FromSoft game. It's just I don't know. I almost wish they didn't have boss names and health bars, because it would just be like, yes, it's this enemy. But there's something about like the boss music and stuff kicking in where I'm like, yeah, but it's just I've killed this guy 6 times.
I keep running into the Tibia Mariners.
Yeah, who are the easiest boss of the game. They just sit there while you wail on them. It's kind of sad, I guess, actually, in a way.
The third one was fun with that skeleton though that he brings out. Yeah,
but obviously have to talk somewhat wide. I will say for my part though, last week I was really liking the game, but I'm finding more of the quest lines, which I know I talked to, and finding the resolutions and stuff, and all that storytelling is absolutely brilliant, and I love it. And there's a few quest lines with characters that I quite loved. In fact, I got the sweet armor set, which if you've played the game, guys, there's a loading screen of a guy with a wolf head and a cloak. I got his armor, and I look awesome now. I just look like Guts from Berserk, and I feel cool. And I upgraded my stats just so I could have enough equipment load to carry it around. And yeah, man, I think the quest lines are top tier for this franchise, and I don't know, I was feeling for these characters, and a lot of unexpected endings and stuff, and now the more of the lore is starting to come together. I'm really like getting into it, and obviously I can't talk about all that, but
speaking of gear, that is the one thing that irritates me the most in this game. Like
gear?
Just the medium load versus heavy load.
Oh yeah,
because I still have like 20 pounds that I can carry, but the moment I hit like 19.5 pounds left to carry, I slow down like incredibly.
Right, you go from medium load to heavy load, and it's a huge distinction.
Yeah.
Whereas the light load is not that big of a distinction. I get you.
Yeah, it is. That is like my one irk, because I'm like, I should just be fine. Like every other game in the world, like I haven't hit max weight. I'm good.
Right.
And this is like, oh no, like your max weight, but I'm like, it's just what I'm equipped, because if I look at my bag, I've got like 40 swords.
400 pounds of stuff.
Like this doesn't count as weight until you carry it, right?
Yeah,
until you equip it.
Video game logic.
Yeah. I'm like, that is my only like severe gripe with this game.
Well, I mean, there's other things that again, I've just barely touched the surface, but the fact
Scott,
that
what's your experience here?
Okay, well, real quick, let me just say this about the fast traveling. Like, doesn't make any sense like you can fast travel to any point of grace, right? Unless that point of grace, you can't, fast travel out of a point of grace that's in a cave.
Oh yeah, that is really weird.
Like, why?
Well,
like,
it's especially weird because like you could be sitting at the site of grace, fully protected, and it's like, nah, dog.
Yeah,
it's really strange.
It's very strange, but anyway, my experience, I have never been more nervous to start a video game in as long as I can remember. I opened this game and I was just scared to death. I just kind of felt like I was walking into Australia. Like everything just wants to kill me viciously. That's just kind of what I expected.
Wait until you see this game's spiders.
The hands?
Man.
I saw a video of that because I can't, that's like half of what TikTok is now, apparently, is just videos from Elden Ring, which gets annoying.
Based on the sales number, it's all anyone's playing.
Yeah, pretty much. But so I kind of went in just like scared to death, and I actually did the training area, that everybody else avoided because they didn't trust the ghost, and came across my first enemy and took him out in 3 hits, and I was like, hey, I killed something. Like I didn't expect like to be able to kill anything with these. I thought there wasn't going to be any fodder. Granted, this is the training area, I get it, but when I hit the open world. And, came across some, harpies or something that were like on the south side of the castle. And I was not like, it was not an egregious fight. I actually was like, okay, this is fine. And then I just started wandering, had no idea what I was doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm still learning the menu system because the menu system is so freaking complicated.
Oh,
for someone like me.
No, as I say, it's funny because, yeah, I didn't even bat an eye about that, but yeah, I guess this is your first of these games. It might be. Yeah,
and I could not figure out. It says, you can arm 3 things in each hand, and I was not understanding that. I had to wait till I get another weapon, and then I could cycle through them, and just little things like that are now common. That are commonplace. That just took me a second to get used to. But the cool thing about this game, and I know I'm you guys have put way more time into this. You're like, well, duh. But I just love wandering around, just trying to find a cave or finding something laying around and seeing what it is. And I'm going to say this, and you're going to be like, duh. But I was on the beach on the south side of the castle, and there was like this magic breadcrumb trail that was going in a circle. And I just went there. What is this? I went near it, and nothing happened. And I read some of the little messages, and something said, like, why not try attacking or something? And I'm like, well, there's nothing to attack, but, why not? So I attacked. I waited for it to come to me. I kind of got in its line and then attacked, and this giant sphere appeared, and I got my first ash. So, I don't know.
I didn't know there was an ash on the beach, so look at
that. Okay, wow. I just thought I was going to be like...
I only figured out what to do with those golden footprints about 45 minutes ago.
Seriously?
Yeah.
And that was like the first like discovery thing that I had, where I was like, okay, I'm totally in now. Because I fought those octopus things on the beach.
What the hell are those things?
Garbage piles.
Yeah.
I just call them garbage piles.
They look like eldritch abominations.
Yeah. And I took one out with my starter knife, like butcher knife or whatever. That's all I had because I hadn't got anything, and it took me a while to get them down. But I don't know. I have not got a, what is it, prey, or not prey? What do they say when you kill something in this one?
Enemy felled.
Enemy felled. Yeah, I got one, but I think it was just the boss in the training area.
What was it? I think it's enemy felled, great enemy felled. I think there's another one too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because Bloodborne was prey slaughtered and nightmare slain. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Ugh, what a game.
So I am, not very far at all, but I'm just absolutely loving that I can just go anywhere and do anything. And I came across a boss, that first guy on a horse that's right by the church.
The tree sentinel.
I avoided him like the plague.
Oh, yeah, I gotta really go back and kill that guy.
Wow, so I really should be staying away from him.
I avoided him.
I actually think it's funny that this game, you go through the beginning area, and that's like the first boss right outside,
and
he will just wipe the floor with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he is an important learning tool of it's okay to not fight everything you come across.
Yeah. Because I
I
made
just
that
avoided
mistake.
him. He just looked big, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did too.
I didn't even have I didn't even have a sword at that point. I just had my little knife, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
You just gotta go to that church.
What's that?
You just gotta go to that church up north.
Yep. This was is it Elich or something like that?
Church of Ella.
Ella, yeah.
Yeah, where you find Kale the merchant.
Yeah, he sold me a crafting kit and
Santa Claus.
Yeah, you should definitely go there at night. Just an idea.
Oh, I did. I got the summon.
Changes the game, man.
I haven't gone there at night.
Oh, okay. I thought you had to be there at night. My mistake.
No, that's where you get that's where I got my wolves, I think. Because somebody shows up at night randomly.
Oh, wait, no. I know what you're talking about now. I thought there was like some boss there at night.
Oh, no, there are bosses exclusive to night, but
oh yeah,
I don't know how to find them.
I don't know. This game just feels like when you're kids and you have those playground discussions about did you do this? Did you do this?
100%.
This is this to the 1000th degree, and I just hope that I hope that I can withstand it long enough to really see some of this stuff, because I know it's going to get hard.
I hope you do, because, man, I really want to talk to, I guess, maybe CB off mic about some of these NPC quest lines and how much brain power you need to do to, like, meet their needs.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely talk after we record, because I have some questions. Again, you are like my soul's mentor.
Yeah, I'll be your Sherpa.
The Sherpa? Yeah. Look at that. Great minds.
We're so in sync.
I know. You had a very cute look in your face when you did that. We're so in sync.
Well, you so
tearing up my heart.
Yeah.
Well, can I talk a little bit about Horizon Forbidden West before we go into the news?
Yeah, that's right. There's another massive open world game.
I'm getting closer. I am on chapter 16 of 17 of the main quests. So I'm
how is the story? I've heard some of the story and it sounds ridiculous. But I know things can often sound ridiculous for the outside. So is it actually good?
I think it's awesome, man.
Okay.
Because I had no idea where they were going with this when I started it. I was just like, okay, I'm Aloy and I'm going west, to save the world again. And the direction that they went, I just think is really, really clever. I could understand why you'd think it's pretty silly, because it does feel a little.
It seems logical to me, actually.
No, I'm saying, like, I'm entirely removed from the context of the sequel. You know what I mean? So when I'm hearing the spoilers, it just sounds outlandish, but I'm sure when you're in the thick of it, it just makes sense.
Into the thick of it?
It makes sense to me. Nothing seems ridiculous while you're playing it. It seems like, oh yeah, that makes sense in this universe.
I mean, I just fought a star that came to life in the game I'm playing, so things often seem ridiculous.
And again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I've talked to CB about this, and I don't know if this has been spoiled for you, but there is a pretty cool cameo of a voice actor that shows up in the final act of the game. That is pretty cool.
Is it Nolan North?
No.
He's the best.
It's another one of your heartthrobs, though, Zach.
Yep, it is one that you will definitely be excited. And do not look it up, man. Well, don't look it up.
Yeah, I gotta play 60 hours of this game to figure this out.
I mean, I can really tell you if you really want to know, but I think
obviously, probably not on the mic, I imagine. But
no, I went on the mic, but I could text it to you.
Okay.
Do you really want to know?
I'm now suspecting who it is based on the way you guys are talking.
Who do you think?
I don't think I think you're pretty off base, actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, my mistake. It is what it is. It sounded familiar based on your description. CB's writing something down, which is not good for audio. But now I'm curious.
No, but it's a fun surprise. Unfortunately, dude.
Whoa! Really?
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to tell him.
I'm telling him. I don't care.
You got me closer to playing the game than anything else ever has. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Could you just tell right away?
Yeah, you can tell right. The character even kind of looks.
Oh man,
like them.
Well, what's funny is I actually got some audio logs way earlier in the game, probably like a good 20 hours ago, that I was like, man, that sounds like that, and I looked it up, and sure enough. So yeah,
man.
Yeah.
It's game of the year. That's game of the year now.
I just met that character that this voice actor plays, and it's pretty cool. There's a pretty long cutscene. Man,
as soon as you finish that game, I want you to call me.
Well, let's do a spoiler cast.
I'm fine with that, but I want your immediate reaction to the final cutscene.
Yeah.
Just because I know what happens, and I want to get you, because again, like, neither one of you have finished it yet, so I can't be like, bro, like, what?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The thing is
you know what's wild is, like, now I'm looking at the video game schedule in my head, and I'm like, when can I fit this in now?
Yeah,
just because of a voice actor.
Well, if that gets you to play the game, then maybe I don't feel upset about him telling me who that voice actor is.
Sometimes spoilers are a good thing.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a lot of dialogue. You know what I mean? But it just randomly shows up, and it's pretty cool.
Right.
It's pretty cool. So I am digging it. I have given up on not side quests. I'm still doing all the side quests, but I've given up trying to clear the map like I normally do in these games, because I just want to push through.
Yeah, also, I want to get. You can't
play 1,700 other games.
Well, yeah, but I've got spring break next week, so. I'm going to be doing some catch up. I don't know.
Finally, time for Route B of Nier Automata.
How surprised would you be if I just come back on the episode and say, "Guess what?"
That would be the wildest sort of events in this podcast history.
Well, I feel confident in saying that by the next time we record, I will have finished Horizon Forbidden West. So again, 2 main chapters, and I'm kind of mainlining at this point. I got to get that copy out to CJ, who is anxiously waiting for it. I say that, he's not. He hasn't even finished the first one, so. But anyway, let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. Couple new trailers to talk about. First off, PC Building Simulator 2. It's coming to the Epic Game Store later this year. And also Dead Man's Diary, coming to Steam on March 20th. That game is worth a look. If you get a chance, check out that trailer. Also, this was the week for Sony's new State of Play presentation for March. And it looks like that the United States is getting its own Super Nintendo World theme park in 2023. CB, you missed last week. Which story would you like to start with?
Theme parks.
Yeah?
They cost dollars.
They cost a lot of dollars.
Did they confirm whether it was going to be Florida or California?
California, Hollywood.
Boo. All right, I'm out.
I'd rather go to California than Florida.
No, because I'd rather go to Florida.
Man.
Why?
The layout of the Universal in Florida, from what I've been told, is actually better.
Oh, okay.
Plus, it's the better Disney is in Florida, man.
I've never been to either Disney, so I couldn't speak to it. But I've only been to Universal in Florida, and I've been there twice, and it's pretty awesome. That Harry Potter World is great, and that was even before I was a fan.
The one half of it.
The one half of it.
Oh yeah, because they split the Harry Potter part of Universal into 2. It's in 2 separate parks.
Oh, so you can only see one at a time.
Diagon Alley is in Universal. Universal's, and then the Hogwarts and everything else is in Islands of Adventure, which is their sister park. And they're connected by the shady Hogwarts Express. Yeah, you have to buy 2 tickets to enjoy both halves.
Wow, that's shady. But
at least it's not $5,000 for a hotel room, I guess.
Oh my goodness! Did you see that? The Star Wars Star Wars hotel rooms they're like
the Galactic Cruiser.
We can't figure out why we're not filling up these rooms. Maybe because it's $5,000 a room,
right?
And not to mention everything keeps breaking.
I mean, that's probably why it's $5,000 a room, right?
Oh no! You guys haven't heard about this? There's been people that have been checking into those $5,000 rooms and nothing works.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've had to refund like half the people that have stayed there because all the like interactive experiences, none of them worked.
Oh wow, that sucks. Anyway, back to Super Nintendo World. I think this is awesome. I still haven't decided if this is something that I just really have to go to. They said there's like 2 rides, but the rides seem like they're very kid oriented just from the descriptions, so I don't know. It'd be something cool to go see if you had a kid. You do.
I would still go because I remember it was Disney when they did the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing, and they built a huge park like that for it.
Right.
I think it's entertaining to go, not to mention there's going to be exclusives that you're only going to be able to get there. I looked at the photos from the Japan one. I think it looks amazing.
The Japan one's awesome.
Yeah. So, and the last time, it was like 3 years ago that I was at Universal, that place is in need of a serious overhaul. Because half of it looks just run down, beat up.
Which one again?
The one in Florida.
Universal, you're saying, though? Sorry?
Yeah, that's where this
where this is going to be. 90s and early 2000s Marvel stuff still?
No, not even that. Like the original Men in Black ride. And then there's like the defunct section where Jaws was, but you can see where everything still is, but it doesn't work.
Oh, Jaws looked run down when I was there in high school. So then, that's seen some better days.
They converted the old King Kong ride into a Fast and the Furious ride, which is terrible. It is awful.
Isn't it just like video screens or something?
Yeah, they used the original track for the King Kong ride, which was a slow ride.
Take it easy.
But then but they put these big screens on it to make it look like you're going super fast. But I'm sitting here like I'm sitting in this thing and I'm like, no, you close your eyes and you're like, no, we're moving very, very slow.
Right. Well, you can only go a quarter mile at a time.
I'm glad though that this park is getting. If they do the one in California, more than likely they're going to do the one in Florida as well, which gets me super excited because we also have family down there, so it's easier for me to go down there and do all this. So
I'm okay going to California if whenever E3 gets in person again, we go out there and
any day now. I think E3 is done, but it's sorry.
Yeah. Well, let me read the quote quick that came from the press release on this. Fans can expect an interactive area, a special themed ride, and of course, plenty of themed shopping and dining. I want to know what the dining is like. What are you going to eat, like piranha plants? Or I don't know.
Can we get some Yoshi steaks?
There you go. Oh my God. Super Nintendo World will be an expansion of the current Universal Studios Hollywood and will be located in the lower area of the park. It'll be the first major expansion of the Hollywood park since 2016 when it debuted the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I did not realize that had only been around for 6 years. I thought, in my mind, that had been around a lot longer. But
in California, it is. It's been around a little bit longer in Florida.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So, anyway, I'm happy to see that is coming to the States. I know it came to Japan first, obviously, but like you said, those shots it looks massive, and I hope they do the same thing. But Zach, am I correct in assuming you'd like to talk about Sony?
Yeah, man. The state of play. I thought this thing was awesome, personally, and I'm curious what you guys will think. Should we just run it down game by game here, or what?
Sure, go for it.
Well, right at the top, Capcom gave everyone a serious case of blue balls with Exoprimal. Because am I the only person who thought that was a Dino Crisis game at first?
Oh, I did not.
Oh, with the red head and the dinosaurs and the Capcom logo, it sure seemed like Dino Crisis to me.
Oh, I could totally see that now. That would have been awesome. A Dino Crisis 3?
Yeah, well, then I started seeing like the gameplay and stuff, and I was like, actually, if this is Dino Crisis, I'm about to get really mad.
Yeah, so you're suddenly glad it wasn't Dino Crisis?
Right, yeah, because if you brought it back as like a weird multiplayer shooter, I would be depressed. Those first two Dino Crisis games are awesome.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, so Exoprimal, wave-based dinosaur shooters is doing anything for you guys?
Yeah. Just kind of,
Do you think, so like when I see it, my immediate thought was like, is it going to be free to play?
Right.
Like, I think the market's been ruined.
Isn't it sad that like that's the thought you have and it just makes you think less of the game?
This is kind of like the market reality, right? Like, you see all the free-to-play shooters, and you're like, well, if you want me to pay $60 for one, it's kind of a hard sell now.
Could this be trap?
It's a trap.
Wow. Do that little From Software message system. We got some new Ghostwire Tokyo stuff, which I actually think looks really cool at this point. But that release date's unfortunate for itself.
Yeah.
That, I keep seeing trailers for that on social media, just like randomly. Like they've put some money into marketing that game.
Well,
at least for people like me, apparently.
I think it's cool the stuff you do with your hands and whatnot. I think it's weird to have a horror game that's open world where you're going on top of towers to unlock map icons and stuff. And then Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. You can unleash your chaos in a new demo they put out, which is just the beginning of the game for several hours, and then you can just take that save over to the main game if you want, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I wish more people did that.
Why developers don't do that more.
I know.
Play this game, and then if you like it, pay us now, and then carry on where you left off.
All right, I think it's the coolest way to do a demo. Because so often Project Triangle Strategy or whatever had demos. I didn't play them because I was like, well, I'll play the game eventually. Why waste my time doing this thing that I'll have to do again later?
Right.
Forspoken also got another trailer and a delay. It was getting pushed from May to October. And you'll notice that was a pretty dialogue-light trailer. I wonder if they've heard the complaints about how dumb the dialogue was. And then Gundam Evolution has a hysterical first-person hero shooter thing going on.
That looked odd to me.
It's Gundam. I'm in.
It's weird. Gundam with iron sights is strange.
Steel Battalion.
It looked weird. I wouldn't expect a Gundam game to be first person, I guess.
I don't know. I don't follow Gundam enough, but it didn't look quite like the Gundam that I've seen in other stuff. Did it look different to you guys?
Well, it's Gundam Evolution.
What is it evolved from?
I don't know.
I feel like this was the bombshell announcement of the show. 13 TMNT games coming in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that Cowabunga collection. That's coming out. It's not just PlayStation, that's on everything.
Oh, I'm so buying this.
Oh, man. 13
Konami TMNT games for $40 is a hell of a deal.
Yeah. Some of those Game Boy ones were actually like really fun.
Yeah. I wish we got more Game Boy ports.
Yeah. We got like Castlevania and Contra and stuff.
Yeah, Konami's going all out, and then we have the Mega Man Z Zero collection.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of GBA games stranded. It's weird you can't play Golden Sun on a Switch.
If I remember correctly, this has the actual arcade version of TMNT as well, and
the NES version, which is not great.
Well, which NES version? Because remember, there are 4 TMNT.
No, I'm talking about the NES version of the arcade game.
Oh, so TMNT
2.
Yeah, because 3 was a separate story, and then
3 was the Manhattan Project,
and then
there was Tournament Fighters. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Do you guys remember Gigabash? I've already forgotten what Gigabash is. That's not good.
No, I believe it was like I want to say like a party game, but I can't remember.
All right. I guess we're moving on from that.
Passable.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R is not going to do anything for us, but that's a remake of a fighting game, and they're adding the female JoJo of the newest series. I'm sure people are losing their minds for that.
I like me some JoJo.
Yeah, cool. Are you excited for the fighting game?
No.
Okay, thanks for weighing in, CB. Trek to Yomi, I was surprised to see at a PlayStation State of Play, since it's coming to Xbox Game Pass day one.
That game looks interesting.
Got to remind people that you can play games on Sony, I guess.
It's really, hey guys, do you want to... Now, I know our competition's offering this game for borderline free, but if you want to come pay $30 over a year, it's kind of a weird marketing move. But yeah, this is that 2D black and white Kurosawa-looking samurai game. Looks awesome.
It looked like a 2D Sifu Light to me, which is like, I don't know. That's what it reminded me of. Like it like a samurai melee type game that I could actually play, because I just know that Sifu would be too difficult for me.
Sifu is pretty tough.
Yeah.
And then Returnal got a new mode called Tower of Sisyphus, which is an endless mode, and it's also adding co-op, which I feel like it's weird co-op wasn't in the game day one.
Mm-hmm.
Even playing that game, it really seemed like it was ripe for a buddy. And then second bait and switch of the show with Battlefield Chronicle, because I definitely thought it was the Final Fantasy Tactics remake that we all know is coming.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not. I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the art style.
It's weird. It's like a real-time strategy game. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And then the show closer of what they should have just named the Square Enix State of Play. Valkyrie Elysium, a long-awaited follow-up to the Valkyrie Profile series from Enix. This one got me very excited. I thought it looked very cool.
Yeah, I actually went and dug out my copy of Valkyrie Profile.
Now that I know you have a copy of Valkyrie Profile, you can expect a break-in the coming days.
No, mine.
It's that game, unlike most of Square Enix's efforts, is not on the PSN PS3 Vita store. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
I've always been curious about the Valkyrie Profile series. I think this game looks like a really cool action RPG, little mid-budget sort of affair. I'm actually very excited for this, and I think I'm really excited that's coming out this year too. I'll have to wait. I will say I got goosebumps at the beginning because the screen was all white and it played like esoterical lyrical music, and I really thought it was Nier 3 for half a second, and it was a real roller coaster of a heart attack.
Oh, speaking of music from that game, there's a song that just played when I was playing Horizon Forbidden West earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the hero moment, CB, leading up to the part that I just got to?
Yeah.
The song playing there was very reminiscent of Nier to me.
So hesitant to say the name.
Well, we say it every episode. So
he's just gonna sit here and just keep jabbing at Zack. Be like, you need to play this game, bro.
I pass a year-long ban on saying it. I've earned the ability to talk about that game every episode.
I don't think you went a full year without saying it.
I think I did.
I think you went a month.
No, because Stoy, even when we did the Desert Island with Stoy, he's like, yeah, man, we didn't hear about it for a while. Like he remembered those moments. So
yeah,
why don't you STFU, homie?
I wasn't saying anything. I just was not saying anything, man.
That was a state of play. I thought it was an absolute banger, but I also like Japanese games quite a bit because I think the only Western game was Returnal.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing that got me super excited was the Ninja Turtles collection, which is
the Ninja Turtles collection too.
As awesome as that is, that's a collection of games from 25 to 30 years ago. So
no, I think a lot of people are excited about that one. I think, right?
Yeah,
I'm just not. TMNT doesn't light my world up, I guess, anymore.
No, it's more nostalgia for me, but I would like to go back and play some of those.
Dude,
what was it the Game Boy one, something like Fall of the Foot,
or something like
that. But I think it was I think the title of the game was just Follow the Foot, wasn't it? Or was it Follow the Foot?
It's Follow the Foot Clan because I have the GBA title.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just excited because now I get to watch an entire generation of younger people bash their face into a wall.
They're not going to play this. No. Okay.
Some young Twitch streamers will, I'm sure, right?
There's going to be people, like, this game's actually probably going to see a lot of Twitch play because you always see, like, the TikTok videos of, like, you remember challenging games? How about this one? They always show Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And
specifically the underwater level. So you're going to have a bunch of younger kids like, I could do that. No, you can't, bro.
There's harder games.
There are, but that one's still real pain.
Let's see them do Battletoads. That's what I want to see them stream is Battletoads.
All right, Papa Gamer, settle down.
No, I just like
get off my difficulty loan.
I couldn't make it. Oh, come on, Captain Elden Ring.
Hey, you've played it. You know it's not that hard.
Well, so far, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I've never said those games are difficult.
No. I wasn't referring to you so much as like a lot of Twitter is, and because the whole debate about like, oh, there should be an easy mode, and the people that are.
I told you last week, easy mode is spells.
I know. That's why I'm thinking of going to the different class than the one I chose.
That was those games. You can always just level up. It's very.
I know
the conversation around those games has always been so weird to me. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on. I would like to remind everybody that we are an independently funded podcast, which means that we do pay for our podcast hosting services and website all on our own. And by saying all on our own, that's not necessarily true because we rely on some of you guys with our Patreon page where fans can contribute monthly to help offset the cost of production as well as give back to the community. So we purchase games for ourselves to review and then turn around and give them back to you guys. And like I said, CJ has got a copy of Horizon Forbidden West coming to him that I will soon be finishing up. But to thank you for your contributions, we do offer some bonus content. At the $3 tier, you get 1 bonus episode a month. At the $5 tier, you get 2 bonus episodes per month. And we have some new ones available. CB, what can people go and listen to right now?
Well, Desert Island Games with Stoy from the EXP cast. Our Retro Outsider on Star Fox Dinosaur Planet with Zack, myself, and Scott. Mm-hmm. And then spoiler cast on the Uncharted movie. And I promise, guys, the Halo stuff is still being worked on. We will get it out there. Awesome. And I have a feeling that we'll be doing a Horizon Forbidden West spoiler cast at some point in the future because I'm nearing the end of that one, so that'll probably happen as well. As well as we've got another Desert Island Games in the works as well. We're looking to try to record it this weekend sometime with another Patreon subscriber, Mark Szymanski. So stay tuned for that as well. But if you'd like to listen to any of those episodes, or maybe just throw a couple bucks our way to help us keep the show afloat, our address is patreon.com/thegocast, and we would appreciate the help. Let's go ahead now and jump into the newer games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, anything new on the horizon that I should be checking out, or should I just be playing more Elden Ring?
Man, if you thought it was slowing down, joke's on you, boy. We have Grand Theft Auto 5 is finally getting this PS5 and Xbox Series X upgrades on March 15th, and because that is 2K, you will have to pay for it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what the upgrade fee is, but I want to say it's $20.
Oh, that's better than paying full price.
Yeah, I think it's $20.
Yeah, and I think it's 10 if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber on Sony's end. Just weird that 2K and Sony are the only people who charge for that. It's just really strange.
Mm-hmm.
Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach finally comes over to Xbox Series X and Xbox One March 15th. If everyone with an Xbox and a kid, beware. Anime Fighter Phantom Breaker Omnia is coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC March 15th. Cute little hand-drawn RPG The Cruel King and the Great Hero comes to PS4 and Switch March 15th. Adventure mystery game Paradise Killer comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One March 16th. CB finally, Tunic coming to Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One and PC March 16th. Wow, I never thought we'd see the day.
I did. I was really getting worried it was going to become vaporware.
A very cool game, Anno Mutationum, coming to PS4 and PC March 17th. That's part of the Chinese Hero Project, which is PlayStation's effort to get Chinese indie games out of China, which I'm sure is a fun minefield for them to navigate. This is a cool game. It's got like 3D environments and 2D sprites. I'm very excited. Galgun Double Peace, the latest shoot 'em up with the waifus, coming to Switch March 17th. I'm sure CB will get a physical copy of that somehow. Monster Energy Supercross 5 coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC March 17th.
Is that the one that kept another game from being called Monster?
I was going to say, I don't even think I would notice the Monster Energy Racers if it wasn't for the fact that they couldn't call that game Gods and Monsters from Ubisoft.
That's what it was, Gods and Monsters.
Which is such a better name than Immortals Phoenix Rising.
I seriously have to think of what the name of that game is whenever it comes up. I'm like, what? It's something : Immortals.
It's a truly terrible name.
Yeah.
And Phoenix is spelled wrong because it's the character's name. It's just dumb.
And Gods and Monsters, I feel like it tells what's going on in that game better.
When they said Gods and Monsters and they showed a hilly landscape, I was like, a Greek mythology game. Mm-hmm. It tells you what you need to know. Anyway. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is coming to PS4, Switch, and PC March 17th. That is frustrating because it's a re-release of a game that was on Xbox, right? and it's the version with more content. But Persona 4 Arena is backwards compatible on Xbox, the 360 version, but not the Ultimax re-release. So this almost feels like an Atlas spitting in the face of Xbox. Very bizarre. I just had to point that out because it's so weird. Then Shredder's snowboarding game coming to Xbox Series consoles and Xbox One on March 17th. That's a Game Pass title.
I did a double take on that one, thinking that was the new Ninja Turtles game, like Shredder's Revenge or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's coming out already? Oh, no, that's actually just a snowboarding game.
Cowabunga, let's shred some snow. You could fight chaos itself in Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin, coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC March 18th. Latest FMV goofy game, Who Pressed Mutant on Uncle Marcus, coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC March 18th. Siberia: The World Before is the latest in the Siberia adventure game franchise. This is the last one that'll have Benoit Socal working on it because he died in 2021, unfortunately, the creator of the franchise. Let's go to PC March 18th. And then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass DLC Wave 1 comes to Nintendo Switch Online members March 18th.
You can also purchase those if you're not a
You
Nintendo
can.
Switch.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's just funny because that game came out in like 2014.
Yeah. On the Wii U.
The Wii U, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what's going to get my vote, though. I know we're laughing about it, but
Oh, really?
I am a Nintendo Switch Online member, and my students play Mario Kart in my classroom quite often. The thing I'm worried about is I can't get an internet connection at school because my district blocks me from using the internet for anything except district devices. So I cannot hook up my Switch to that. Yeah, I know CB's waving his phone at me, but
hotspot it, bro.
The signal I get in the school is not great. So
I'm sure
it's
it'll
hit or
be
miss.
a somewhat sizable download as well.
Right. I mean, I could take it home and download it. That's not a problem. I don't know if you like. I've tried to play the like the Nintendo games and the Super Nintendo games, 64 games, that kind of thing, to kind of show them, hey, these are what games look like when I was a kid. And you have to be connected to the internet to do that, and I cannot use the hotspot to do that for some reason. So I'm hoping that once these tracks are downloaded, that I don't have to be connected to the internet in order to prove that I have them, but I have to guess I do.
See, I would guess that you do not because Nintendo, but you know what? Also, it's Nintendo, so anything's possible.
Yeah. So that's my vote. I'm assuming, Zach, yours is going to be Final Fantasy.
Correct. I really, really, really want to play Anno Mutationum. I think it looks awesome, but I think I'm going to want to get through Stranger of Paradise first because there's something about killing chaos that I just cannot resist. It looks so dumb, and I want the dumb injected into my veins.
All right.
Like, have you guys seen the video circulating about how the party teams up?
No.
They're just total strangers, and these two guys come up to the main character Jack, and they're just like, "Hey, do you have one of these crystals?" And Jack's like, "Yeah, it's telling me I need to kill chaos." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, me too." And the third guy's like, "I guess we're all on the same page." And then they fist bump, and then they start traveling together.
Oh my god.
So I need to play this game immediately.
Oh,
That's terrible.
who's bringing the marshmallows?
It has to be self-aware, right?
Yeah, at that point,
After
yes.
that,
Because
it
I'm
sounds
bringing
like
the
it has
fire.
to.
Yeah, it looks great. Oh man, I haven't told you. I made my Elden Ring character look like Nero from Devil May Cry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's so
Nice.
cool.
We don't even need to ask what CB's is.
It's going to be a busy week for me, man.
There's
Oh, more than...
way too much coming out this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tunic, of course.
Yeah, I also want to play Tunic. Sorry.
But Galgun, double piece, of course.
Yeah, I told you. I knew it.
But I also really want to play Who Pressed Mute on Uncle Marcus.
It looks ridiculous.
Because that company, I love their FMV stuff. So,
What company is that?
I think it's Wales Interactive.
Oh, okay.
So they're the ones that they also did like Telling Lies.
Didn't they do that Hunger Games one?
No, Telling Lies was Sam Barlow.
Was it?
Yeah, that was her guy, her story, or whatever.
But all I know is,
They did a bunch of them, though. You're right.
Yeah, they've done a ton of them, but they've all been entertaining. But yeah,
they're often self-aware, which I like.
Yes. I'm still waiting for you to play The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker.
I do want to. That redhead is very attractive.
Yeah. But Tunic, oh my God. God, this is what, 4 years in the making, finally?
I did not like the demo as much as you did.
I thought it was good. Well, especially now that you're all on board with Elden Ring, the Souls meets Zelda formula that Tunic is going for is going to be pretty great.
Yeah. It's Dark Souls animated.
It is super cute. It's just there's so much.
Yeah, there's way too much to play right now.
I'm actually very nervous to see how large Tunic could be, because we only saw that one area, and that still chewed up 2-3 hours doing everything in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder how long it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, I think the demo was bespoke, right? Or the item order was switched up or something like that. It was not. I think it was designed to be a 3-hour game, essentially.
Right. It wasn't like a vertical slice or the first 3 hours of the game. It was its own thing.
Right.
Yeah. We have no idea.
Right.
I think video games should start marketing their lengths more. Although Miyazaki was Elden Ring will only take you about 25 hours to get through. What a liar.
Hey, it has been
Brian
done in
Regal's
sub-hour, though.
Yeah, it's true. I think Brian Regal says he hit hour 90 today.
How's
this recording?
Oh, man. What's going on with these people? I want to be these people.
Same here. Same here. I barely have I have to budget time to be able to sit down and play anymore. It's nuts.
Don't budget, just make.
Yeah.
Just have time.
All right. Well, speaking of new games,
dun, 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 dun,
Scott,
dun.
I guess you're gonna have to tell me more about Pinball.
I won't be long, I promise.
So,
what new could you possibly have to say about Pinball this many years into this podcast?
What more could I say about it?
I mean, what is left to yet be unsaid? Yet to be said.
I don't know. I got to talk about this though. They sent me the table.
I wasn't.
I will say, though, I am intrigued because I do like the actual table that you played.
Yeah, this is based on a real Indiana Jones table. This is not one that was made, brand new. This is actually a real table that they converted to a digital format. So
that's super. Is Pinball FX next gen out yet, or is this still the Xbox One version or whatever?
It's still the Xbox One version, but I can play it on Series X. There is a new Pinball FX coming in the future.
And that's the one where you have to rebuy everything, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll probably stick with Pinball FX3, considering the fact that this is my 100th table on Pinball FX3. So I actually own all of the tables now at this point. But anyway, if you have not played this table, it's quite good. It's a very high scoring table in terms of you get bonuses for 20 million, so you're just racking up millions and millions of points. It's not overly difficult at the beginning, so it's quite good. The sound effects are great. They got extra stuff going on the screen, like Indy walks out and does his whip and all that kind of stuff, which is obviously not in the real table. They add animations to the table for fun. The missions are all based on the movies. It's a fun table. It's really great. I feel like it's a very accessible one.
The table itself, if I remember correctly, it's the first 3 movies, correct?
Right. Yeah, this was made well before.
Weren't there only 3?
Crystal Skull. I see what you did there.
Well, I mean, I always consider things like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles TV series.
Oh,
I still consider that canon, not that other pile.
I like the 4th movie. It's fine.
Get out of here.
It's
Leave.
Fine.
It's terrible.
If it weren't for Shia LaBeouf swinging with the monkeys, I think that movie would be pretty great.
If it wasn't for the stupid refrigerator,
that doesn't bother me as much.
It bothers me a lot.
Doesn't bother me. Seeing the alien sucked, and Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys sucked.
Didn't bother me as much as Cate Blanchett. I really did not like her character.
Oh,
I was okay with her character, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I just felt like her accent was way forced. But anyway,
worthy 100th table.
Yes, this is great. Indiana Jones: The Pinball Adventure. If you like pinball, you like Indiana Jones. The only problem I have with this table is the price tag. This is a $15 pinball table.
Whoa, how much are they normally?
They're normally like
$5, aren't they?
They're normally like a 3-pack for $15, or maybe a 3-pack for $20 at launch. $15 for one single table just seems a little steep for me. I assume that a lot of that is because of the licensing.
It's gotta be, right?
It's gotta be. But I mean, there's been other licensed tables as well, but maybe this one's just a lot more popular. But
maybe whoever made the pinball table was really jerks about licensing out their table or something.
Maybe. I don't know the story behind it. I'd love to ask somebody. Maybe you could talk to Chris for us and get the inside scoop.
I'm actually kind of curious. With Pinball Effects, do they have like Haunted House, the pinball table?
I haven't seen that one. Most of the ones that are actual pinball tables are Williams. I don't remember which platform that was.
Yeah, because like some of those, like the Addams Family table, or like some of those like true classic tables.
Yeah, the Addams Family is a great table.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that some of those aren't on Pinball FX.
It's again licensing, man. They've only got their pockets are only so deep.
Yeah, but once like the Haunted House or Addams Family, like I'd imagine those licenses couldn't be that hard to get a hold of.
You might be surprised, man. The pinball world is a lot bigger than some people think.
No, I know it's pretty big.
So
we'll get there.
Plus, I imagine that once the new client drops, whenever that does, that there'll probably be some extra surprises as well. Hopefully, some surprises will be that I can transfer some tables for cheaper than purchasing them. But we'll have to see how that goes.
Scott, I want to clarify. I wasn't giving you crap about talking about pinball. It's just
no, I know.
Just okay.
No, I didn't take you badly.
All right, you looked a little hurt. It made me feel bad.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I just I know that not everybody is into pinball as I am. I get really excited about it, and I didn't even tend to talk about it this long. But I really like Indiana Jones: The Pinball Adventure. I'm playing it on Xbox.
Enthusiasm is infectious.
I wish I could get more people because it's me and my buddy Mike out in Portland.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
I still have a Pinball FX on mine. I'm just not that good.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely takes time. I've been playing it for 15, 20 years. So,
can't wait for you to have to buy all 100 tables again.
No, that will not be happening.
It's so weird they don't offer a discount path.
Anyway, now it'll be 200 new tables.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Anyway, Scott, you've also been playing Vampire Survivors on Steam, which... Watching the trailer, I am surprised you have been playing Vampire Survivors on Steam.
Yeah, I know, right? Here's the thing. Same guy, Mike, my pinball buddy, texted me last week sometime and said, dude, he and I have our relationship is, we've been friends for so long that we can say to the other, dude, just blind buy this game, just trust me, and just buy it. And he told me to blind buy this game last week, and I genuinely forgot. Normally I just do it. Genuinely forgot, and then he followed up with me yesterday and said, "Dude, have you bought this yet?" And I'm like, "I don't even remember that. What is
Man,
it?"
He's so on you about it.
Yeah, well, so it's on Steam, and it actually is on Mac, so I can actually play this one. It's $3. Okay, it's $3. It's still an early access game, and I tried it out, and I am hopelessly addicted to this game that looks like not a fun game. It looks.
You know what it looks like? It looks like I made a game of zombies in it to me.
I'm so glad you said that because that's exactly what I was going to compare it to. It feels very much like I made a game of zombies in it without the music, without that kind of music.
Without the catchy song about I put a game of zombies in it, so I think you would buy it.
Yeah.
What a great game.
That was hilarious. But this game plays very similar to that. Imagine a twin stick shooter with only one stick. All right? So you do not point a direction to shoot. When all you do is you move your character around, which sounds like it wouldn't be good. This is very much a minimalist game, but you start the game. Okay, this is a horde game. It's like you start as your character in the middle of the screen, and hordes of monsters just slowly start moving towards you in the middle of the screen.
Like Robotron.
Or Robotron, as the normal people say it.
CV, how do you say it?
Robotron.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I am the weirdo.
Yeah, I mean... We established that last time.
All right.
Robot Ron.
I could call it
Robot
Robotron.
Ron.
Robot Ron would be cool. You know what? Me and my brothers all say Robotron.
That's interesting. You were the first person I've ever heard it pronounced Robotron.
Anyway,
so the game starts out just hordes. I mean, it starts out a little bit light, but enemies just start moving towards you, and you had to maneuver your character in such a way to defeat these enemies with whatever weapon you have equipped. So depending on which class you choose, you either start with, I only got 2 classes open right now. One is a whip, which only attacks horizontally, left and right, or left or right, actually, at the beginning. And the second one is like a mage that actually shoots a projectile directly towards enemies. I don't know what the other 2 do yet, because I haven't unlocked them. But the way the game plays is whenever you defeat an enemy, they drop these little blue gems that are count as experience. And whenever you level up, you're given the option of choosing 3 abilities, one of 3 abilities. And they just make you slowly more powerful as you go. And the idea is just to last as long as you can until the horde overtakes you. And then you go back and spend money for upgrades. It's a roguelike, more or less. It's a very addicting roguelike. It feels like a game that is going to make it to cell phone at some point, or at least Switch. I mean, seriously, this game is so addicting. It does that one more run mentality so well, because every time you finish, you just get a little bit more powerful, and I'll do better this time. And the Steam achievements, which I don't really care about Steam achievements too much, I feel like I'm getting something every run that I get, so there's always that carrot on the stick that is just pulling me forward. Vampire Survivors is a game that when I watched the trailer, I thought there's no way I'm going to like this game. It just looks cheesy, but I trusted Mike, and I'm glad I did. I'm actually kind of annoyed how much I like this game because I have so much other things I need to be playing, and I want to play this pixelated, minimalist game that is actually quite well done.
Hey man, fun is fun.
Yeah.
How's the story?
I have no idea what the story is. I genuinely don't think there's stories. But there's a story, but
that was the joke. Yes.
Oh, okay. It's fun. I wish I could have seen your reaction when you first watched this trailer, because it does not look like a game that I would recommend. My
very first thought was Scott Studios with I Made a Game of Zombies in it.
Oh yeah.
But my second thought was like, what the hell? Yeah. It's also funny because it's like a 30-second trailer.
Yeah, it's very, very short, but it's one of those games that the further you get and the more stuff you unlock, you just start to feel godlike compared to how you were when you began. So it feels very rewarding, especially again when you're not, all you're doing is moving. You know what I mean? You're not pointing a second stick to point a projectile, but the items that you get wind up working in your favor. Like one of the items you get is a Bible that goes around in a circle. You know what I mean? So then when it hits enemies, it damages them. And then you can, on your next one, you could get a second Bible, or you could increase the damage of that Bible, or you can get fireballs that randomly shoot in whatever direction. And
this does seem perfect for phones.
Yeah. I don't know how it would work with the phone in terms of, touch controls. I don't know. Games like that, I always want to have a joystick in my hand. I mean, I guess you can.
Do you on your Mac?
I have an 8-bit DOE gamepad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is handy because the stick actually works on that or the gamepad. So.
Those are Bluetooth, so
right.
You use it with your phone.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. It just seems weird. Without, I guess if I had a clip or something like that.
I forgot you could do that. I forgot you could Bluetooth PlayStation controllers to the iPhones now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can do the Xbox controllers too.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on, we got a couple reviews I want to share with you that I sat down and talked with some special guests. First off, Aaron Peterson stopped by to talk to us about the Halo television series, which releases on Paramount Plus. He's down at South by Southwest and got to see the premiere and offered to come by and tell us about it. Also, you'll hear from Alyssa, who played Martha is Dead, and you'll hear from Kevin, who played Rollers of the Realm Reunion, as well as Kung Fu Kickball. So strap yourself in. We'll play those for you right now. I'm here with Miss Alyssa White. How you doing, Alyssa?
I'm okay, Scott. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. And also joining us is Kevin Honigford, who's become quite the regular on the Gaming Outsider. How's it going, Kev?
It's going great. Yeah.
We got 3 games for you guys to talk about. We'll go over them really quick. Alyssa, I know you were going to talk about Martha is Dead last week from LKA Games, but we had some technical issues, which is why we couldn't have you on the show. So I want to hear about it because this is the big controversial game that you got to play on Xbox, otherwise you get it edited on Sony, and you did play it on Xbox, correct?
I did, yes.
So
and I'm glad I did.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. So tell me about it. Does it live up to the hype in terms of, is it as bad as everybody says it is?
It is very disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
The game, before you even boot it up, will come up with a list of triggers, but that's not even everything that's triggering in the game that it will list. You need to go online and look at the full list, because this game is pretty much all trauma.
Just covers all the bases, huh?
Pretty much everyone. It doesn't cover a few.
Right.
It could bother some people, for sure.
Fair enough. So what's it about? What's because I couldn't really tell from the trailer other than somebody is dead, obviously. I assume it's Martha.
Yes, that would be correct. There are 2 twin sisters, Martha and Julia. They're identical, and Martha is found dead in the lake, but the parents think that it's Julia that's died, and Martha was deaf, so Julia takes on her personality. She has to act like she can't hear anything, has to act like Martha, read the newspaper. Julia never reads the newspaper. But, she can't keep up the facade forever, and things start unraveling.
Why does she do that? Is there a reason for it?
Martha was always their mother's favorite child, and she would harm Julia. That's a trigger for sure.
Yeah, okay.
So she's trying to keep herself safe from her mother.
And she knows that if she comes out and says, "I'm not Martha," there's going to be issues. The whole town thinks that Julia's dead. They hold a funeral, all this kind of stuff. That's
a really clever way to do a story. I've never come across that. So does the story pay off in the end? Is it really interesting all the way through?
It is very interesting. I will say it's ambiguous, so it does leave it up to your imagination at the end what truly happens.
Right.
I personally really like that, but I know some people that's not gonna rub the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm still thinking about it to this day, thinking, was it really this? Was it that?
Gotcha.
So it sticks with you.
Okay. Sticks with you for good reasons and bad reasons, though, it sounds.
It's hard for me to say because I don't really get triggered that much by the topics that it covers.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that being able to interact with the game on Xbox actually added to the story, but it does give you an option to skip past some disturbing moments that you have to interact with on Xbox.
Gotcha.
I think on PlayStation, you still watch it, but it's a cutscene, or you can skip it. But
now,
you just don't interact with it.
Is it worse than the one that they were showing on Twitter with the face? That's the one that stands out to me. Does it get worse than that?
The face one's pretty much near the beginning of the game, and
okay.
I would say there's 2 more where you interact, and they're both disturbing, but about equal amounts. But there is one specifically that could trigger a large group of people at the end.
Gotcha.
And the game even tells you beforehand that it's going to happen.
I'm just intrigued at this point just to see what it is, because I always like games that kind of push the envelope, and I'm not easily triggered myself, so and I've got a pretty strong stomach.
So when you say you give if I could speak, when you said they give you an option to skip it, does that like kind of spoil what's coming for you?
I never skipped it. I'm just assuming if you choose to skip the interactive portion, you just don't see like the scene they showed on Twitter. It'd skip past the cutting part and just go to the after.
Okay.
Right, but I think to Kevin's point, like if you get a something that pops up that says you can skip this next part, doesn't that kind of mean like, oh, something messed up is coming, and you kind of want to experience it in the moment?
The messed up thing happens, and then it gives you the option to skip.
Okay.
Before you interact with it, you know what's going to happen.
Gotcha.
Okay.
What about the gameplay? Is this a walking simulator, or?
It is most definitely a walking simulator, but it does have a really cool photography mechanic because Julia is a photographer, and there are some moments in the game where you have to take pictures to progress the story, but you can take pictures of anything in the game with different colored lenses, infrared lighting, just whatever you want to. And I think that's really cool, and just going through the the development process of the photographs is really soothing in a way.
Oh, okay.
I just thought that was a unique touch. And I also learned how to kind of read a telegram in this game. It was difficult at first, but I figured it out.
Say stop at the end of every line?
And I had to figure out which dots correlated to which letters and what the letters meant for phrases.
Gotcha. Interesting. So you recommend people check this one out then?
If you think you can handle it, I definitely recommend checking websites to see what the full list of triggers are if you are triggered by certain elements. Just because it could possibly be very disturbing for people, because just even playing it can be brutal at times with what it portrays.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for checking that one out. It's definitely piqued my interest. If I could just get through Horizon, I could play some other games, but I think I'm going to be on lockdown with that one for a while. So
yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, right? Kevin, though, you and I were lucky enough to sit down and do an interview with one of the gentlemen from Phantom Compass who talked about Rollers of the Realm Reunion, and they were kind enough to send you a review code to check it out. And I'm dying to hear about it because I got a new pinball game this week that I played, and you know I love me some pinball. So is this game as fun as it looks?
Yeah, you got to check this one out.
Yeah,
this is a blast. It's pinball with an RPG element. And a bit of a story. The story is kind of like what I played is only a demo, so I didn't get very far at all. But the story is kind of childish, but for the audience, it's kind of geared toward that. That works great.
Right.
But yeah, it's a fantastic experience. If you played the first one, I did not play the first one, so I went back and looked at it and just kind of observed for a little bit, and it's a lot of the same, but the art style is quite a bit different. It's a little more like cartoonish. Not that the first one wasn't, but a little more softer cartoonish.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you start off playing the role of a little rogue with a dog. And as the story progresses, you come across a knight who you had known in the previous game as well. And then there is also a mage you come across and a healer. And you have to go through these. Each table is a scene. Almost, I would liken it to like a battle, an encounter in a role-playing game, so to speak.
Sure.
And you have enemies that will come towards you as you play, come towards your paddles. And when they attack you, your paddles are your hit points.
Oh, like a little health bar?
Yes, and this is where it gets really cool, because as they attack you, if they hit you, it takes your hit points away, so it takes your paddle away. Your paddles get smaller and smaller and smaller the more damage they do if you don't figure out a way to. There are ways to mitigate the damage and to heal yourself, obviously, with the healer, so on and so forth. It is like each character has their own special abilities. The knight is the one that basically mitigates the damage, and you will gain mana by hitting the bumpers on the table. All the different bumpers will give you mana, and when you get enough mana, you can set off your special abilities. And the knight special ability is basically puts armor on your paddles, so they can't be harmed.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The mage's special ability is like a table wide. She'll hit like 3 or 4 guys at once with an attack. The rogue calls her dog, so you have 2 balls on the table at that time.
Multi-ball.
Yep. But it's like that RPG, but it is on a pinball table. There are secrets that you can uncover, different paths you can open by doing different things. It's pinball with a story and magic.
I'm loving it, man.
That sounds cool.
And is it just super, if I remember from the interview, it's super easy to switch between characters on the fly, right? Like you can just press a button and they go?
Yep. So like I don't know if this changes, but right now you can only have 3 of them. So you have to select your party of 3 people, and then in the game you just select up or down on the D-pad. And I guess I should say that this was only playable with the controller on my end.
Interesting. Okay.
It does have there's a tab for keyboard options, but I couldn't. It's not available. So
right.
I'm assuming it's going to be available when the actual game comes out. But right now, it was strictly controller for me.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was just up and down on the D-pad on the controller, and
you're hitting bumper buttons.
Yep, you're hitting the bumpers
flippers.
for the flippers, and you use the left stick to kind of basically do what's tilting.
Yeah, nudge the table.
Yep, and so you can kind of guide your ball as to where you want to go. And like he said in that interview, it's not punished here in any way, shape, or form. It's a very large part of the game.
Oh, okay.
And each character also has a dash ability, which is when you have enough mana, you hit a button, and time it doesn't freeze, but it slows down very drastically and lets you point your ball in whatever direction you want to go, and then you hit a button again, and your ball just shoots in whatever direction that is. And most of them have an added feature to it, like the mage. One of the features you can unlock is she leaves a trail of fire, so any monster that comes in contact with it, obviously it damages them. Yeah, it's a really great game, and the thing I worried about when I first saw the aesthetic was the pinball, like the physics. But it does really good. I mean, it literally feels like you're playing a pinball table. It's just you're changing your balls, and some of them are different, and it's a really well put together little game.
I have to play this game, and I hope this comes to a platform that I can play it on, because it just is very much a Scott Clark game.
Yeah,
it screams your name.
Yeah, if not, you're gonna have to borrow a laptop or something.
Something. I will definitely have to do something like that. So, well, I want to talk about the other game that you played for us, which is called Kung Fu Kickball. It comes from the developer Whale Food Games and was provided to us by Stride PR. So this one gave me a couch co-op or a competitive game that you want to play with somebody on the couch, not online, like so you can punch each other in the shoulder. I don't know, like kind of like soccer with Kung Fu? I don't know. Can you explain to everybody what it is?
No, you hit the nail right on the head. It's a 16-bit brawler / kickball, like / soccer more so.
Yeah.
But yeah, each team has a goal on each side of the arena, and it is 2D. But your goal is to get your kickball you have to ring a bell that hangs from a certain spot. That is your goal on the opponent's side of the field. And you literally kick the crap out of each other while you're going after the ball.
So you're actually fighting the actual characters themselves, not just chasing after the ball. Correct.
And yeah, in that aspect, it is a lot of fun. There is like single player modes, and there is it's almost, the game feels like it's geared towards online play, even though, like you just said, the couch, it can be co-op on teams, but the couch local game is really where it's at here, in my opinion.
Are you just 1-on-1, or can you do 2v2, 3v3?
Nope, it's just 1-on-1 and 2v2. Okay. You can, if we, when it was just me and my two boys, you can bring a bot in. You can even the playing field a little bit, but yeah, it's a bit of a blast. But like I said, there is a single player mode, and that part it gets old real fast.
Okay.
Simply because the controls are basic to the extreme. There's just an attack button, and there's a jump button, and there's like a telekinetic dash button. And that you use the D stick to basically tell your character which attack to do. So letting it go and hitting attack button is just a punch. Holding it forward and hitting attack button is normally a kick of some sort, depending on your character. And then up and attack is like you kick the ball straight up in the air.
Gotcha.
Or your opponent, whichever one.
But I mean, that simplicity works when you're playing against people because it's just an even playing field.
Exactly.
But
co-op with especially with my boys on the couch. I mean, we had an absolute blast with this game. We still play it, even though I went through and did all the arcade stuff to check it all out. It's a blast. There's nothing cooler, honestly, than when you step away because you got to do something, and you come back and your boys are sitting there who normally just want to kick the crap out of each other in real life, and they're just screaming their heads off because they're having so much fun playing this game.
I gotta check this one out too, man. That's 2 games you've 3 games now. The 2 of you have told me about that I have to play, and I won't be able to for quite a while. So I take it you recommend this one for people that like games with their buddies, like a Rocket League or
Exactly. It is very Rocket League-ish.
Or Killer Queen Black, something like that.
Yeah. I just one of the other cool parts that this game features is like since you brought up Rocket League, that just made me think about it. Is like you can set up custom matches, and one of the more fun, I guess, game types we had was with those custom matches because you could set gravity to be different. You can raise it or lower it. You could choose different balls that do different things. Like one of our favorite ones was the ball it's the mascot for who was the developer's name again? Whale
Food Games?
Yeah, it was Whale. It's like their mascot on their on their insignia. And like if you look at it, it's a pufferfish basically. Mm-hmm. And when it hits your character, it sticks to them. And so you're running around, and the only way to get the ball off of this character is to literally kick the crap out of them. Nice. And it's so much fun to just sit down with buddies on the couch, like you said, and just play a few rounds, and it's pretty soon a few rounds turns into all night.
I think you need to bring this one to D&D next time just so we can see what 2v2 is.
If I do that, we're not going to play D&D.
All right. Well, maybe not then, because, yeah. All right. Well, Kevin and Alyssa, thank you so much for stopping by to talk about your respective games. It's always great to chat with you. And Alyssa, we'll see you on the show next week for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And Kevin, looking forward to another review from you in the future.
Yeah, thanks again for the opportunity. Good to see you again, Alyssa.
Good to see you too, Kevin.
All right, we'll catch you guys later.
See ya.
I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Aaron Peterson from The Hollywood Outsider. Aaron, how you doing, man?
I am tired.
Are you tired?
I am so tired.
Aaron is tired. Well, first off, I feel like you need a little bit of an introduction. I know we talk about you here and there on the show, but Aaron and I actually podcasted together for the first time, like 10 years ago now?
This is 11. This would be 11 years.
11 years. So we started, doing the Hollywood Outsider years ago.
No, we started Official Thread, and the Hollywood Outsider was technically a spin-off.
That's true. Yeah, the Official Thread podcast was the first. Yeah. Good times. It was a lot of fun, and we've been working together here and there ever since. I think 7 years straight before I peeled off from Hollywood Outsider to do the Gaming Outsider, right?
Yep.
And then
how long has it been? When did you leave Hollywood Outsider? Is it 4 years, 5 years, 4 years?
It would have been like right before my master's degree, so about 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's been
something like that. So it's been a while. But anyway, the reason that Aaron decided to stop by, or actually offered to stop by, which I'm really appreciative of, is he is down at South by Southwest in, is it Houston?
It is Austin, Texas, man. Austin,
Texas.
Don't you dare get that wrong. Austin, Texas.
They'll probably get mad at me. I should probably edit that out. But he's down there for South by Southwest, seeing all kinds of films. He's down there representing the Hollywood Outsider. And one of the things that he was able to get into to see was is this the premiere? Like the actual first premiere?
It was not only the premiere of Halo, but I don't even know what that was.
I don't either.
It was not only the premiere of Halo, it was the first time any of the actors had seen the final product with full special effects.
Oh, wow. So that's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, and I got to tell you, yes, people are going to eventually see it on TV. I think it's March 24th. It comes to Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Sure, that'll be exciting and whatnot, but I don't think there's ever going to be anything close to watching that particular show finally see the light of day, live action, in a packed theater with half the people obviously huge freaking Halo fans, because I'll get into why in a minute, but man, the crowd was nuts for this. Yes.
Okay, and apparently Paramount really feels like they've got something good on their hands, because you said they put it in their premiere theater down there, right?
Yeah, they're actually, they have an episodic program. In case you don't know what a film festival, this is South by Southwest is both a film and a music festival. I'm here for the film portion. I've seen like 15 or 20 movies. I've seen a lot of stuff, and they break those into different areas. Some go to smaller theaters, some go to big theaters, and episodics, which this is a part of, is a kind of a smaller part of their program. Like they don't do a ton of episodic stuff, TV shows, premieres and stuff like that. But they've done a lot more this year because so much quality storytelling is being done on TV. And the Paramount, I mean, it makes sense. Paramount Plus, Paramount Theater. But Paramount is the biggest theater of the entire festival. It seats like 2,300 people or something. I mean,
Holy cow.
Oh, it's huge. And if they give a premiere to Paramount, they expect that fans are going to love it. And a lot of the episodics have been there, and they haven't really filled the theater out because people go to film festival mostly to see movies, right? They want to see.
Right.
But Halo, it was stacked.
Wow.
It was full. So they made the right call because people were excited. There were people in line hoping they could get in. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Very cool. So I'm very eager to hear what you thought about it because I know you've played the Halo games yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You play video games. You're not just a movie buff, but you play games as well. So when you texted me coming out of this and telling me about it, I think the phrase you said, "Damn, that was awesome."
Yeah.
So tell me what made this so good.
There were more profanities, but you're a safe podcast, so I won't get into that.
Yeah.
You know what? What's funny is I've played the Halo games. I am not a diehard, but I have played all of them, like every one of them. So I enjoy them, obviously, or I wouldn't play them. I just don't play much of the multiplayer because I'm the guy that gets teabagged every time, every time. So sure. I'd rather just have people tell me how much fun they have playing it.
Yeah, same here.
But I like the story. I like the story. I mean, the story's always kind of cool. So, the story starts off in Madrigal, which is a planet, and it's a far outpost. And the Covenant shows up. There's basically almost like a Mad Max faction of outliers that are working this outpost. They don't have much money. They don't have many things. They don't have high tech, but they're a family. They're a unity. They're a community. And the Covenant shows up for reasons that shall come to fruition soon because they find a very special rock. That's all I want to say about it. And they descend upon the outpost basically to destroy everyone that lives there. So as this is the opening, so I'm not spoiling. This is how it opens. And at that point, that's when the Spartans are introduced. Now you get a little bit of kind of the establishing of what a Spartan is from this community at the outpost, where they talk about them almost like ghost stories. The boogeyman is how they're kind of describing the Spartans. And if you hear planes and whatnot, I am literally live on site, so you might hear some planes in the background. Don't think that's Scott. That's just my location. So at that point, the Spartans arrive, and that's where we get the Master Chief introduction, which was just fantastic. Just a fantastic introduction to the character. It literally leads into a 20-minute fight scene. And I mean, 20 minutes of this opening hour is just one Halo badass battle. And
so they don't waste any time. It just goes right into.
Oh man, it is right into it. There's more story to it. It's not just, fight and kill, but it immediately just hits the ground running, so that you initially connect with a character called Quan, who is the youngest member of this outlier community and of this outpost, and she's a resident of Madrigal, and she comes to be of major importance in the show as it goes, and I'll explain that shortly if you want me to. And they show up basically. She's our vision, our look into that world, right? So that we understand the world from the human side of it, because you got to have a person to follow, or it's kind of hard to really enjoy a TV show if you just have a bunch of people running around in helmets, like all Mandalorian style. But then Master Chief and the other Spartans show up, and you get a full-on just 20-minute assault, which is full of literally every fan's want to see. I swear to God, they gave you almost everything you wanted to see in a Halo show in that 20 minutes.
All right.
Oh, man. His introduction is fantastic. The whole theater went, bleep, yeah. I mean, they lost their minds. I mean, there were people standing up. It was ridiculous. I just don't understand that to some degree.
Man, part of me wishes that they would premiere this in theaters. In the States.
It's worthy. I mean, honestly, it was a great set piece. I've seen a lot of TV action set pieces. Not many of them are very memorable. Game of Thrones obviously comes to mind, but there aren't many science fiction opuses like this, fantasy opuses like this that have a great set piece on TV. This one's fantastic. Like, it really, really clicks. Now, I don't know if they can keep that momentum going, because I'm sure it cost like $1 bazillion to make this.
Right.
But I mean, and I should say, this is not like a safe television show. I mean, the violence is really graphic.
Okay.
There's blood splattering all over this girl's face. I mean, everywhere. Heads
Which
explode.
is interesting, because there's not even blood in the games. And
Sure,
I'm not
there is. Heads pop and everything else. I mean, not necessarily blood, but you could do headshots and everything else.
yeah, absolutely. But it's not. It's sci-fi violence, in the games.
Sure.
So, there's not a lot of gore, but I mean, like you said, there are limbs and stuff coming off, or
Yeah.
But
and you'll see heads pop and whatnot, but you don't. You don't see it mostly with people. You see it mostly with the Covenant. And,
gotcha.
Those
well,
creatures.
you keep talking about the Chief's entrance, and that kind of brings me to my next question.
It's excited just thinking about it.
Well, I mean, because that feels like one thing that you really have to get right in order to make a Halo television show or film or anything on the big screen work, is the Chief's look. Did they make it look right? Did they make it? Oh, man,
perfect. He looks just like he does in the game. Yeah, I mean, it looks like Master Chief. I never had a doubt which character it was.
There you go.
As soon as he landed. And neither did everybody in that 2,300-seat theater, because 90% of them screamed. Including Pablo Schreiber, who's the Master Chief himself. I mean, he was just as excited as everybody else, because I sat right across from him. And he's just like, woo, clapping himself, which is always fun to see.
That's awesome. Did they, I almost hesitate to ask this question, but the big question that everybody wants to know is, does Master Chief take his helmet off?
I won't answer that, because I don't think fans should be cheated on the moment if it's there. I will say, whatever happens, it works completely. So it works in the context of the scope of the story as it's being told in a TV series. I think it's very important that people remember this isn't just a video game being brought to life. It has to be a TV series too. Like, it's 9 episodes. It's not 10. It's not 8. It's 9 episodes. And they have to make sure that they have, the ability to kind of tell a story very, very faithfully. And, they've got a great cast. And when you've got Pablo Schreiber, who's like plays Master Chief, I, as a fan, would probably want to see their head. I'm not saying if you do or you don't. I'm just saying I, as a fan, would want to. And, a lot of people say, well, Mandalorian didn't do it. I'm like, yes, they have. They have multiple times. So you can't even use that as your argument. It is what it is. If you see it, it is what it is.
How is he as the Chief, masked or unmasked? Again, you're not telling us.
It took a little... That's where the games really affected me a little bit, because it took a while to get used to the voice difference. His voice is different.
No Steve Downs.
No, it's different. But you get used to it really quick, and once you do, he's a very talented actor. He's been in other stuff, but it's a performance that grows on you very much like Mandalorian in that respect. Even though you have most of it in the helmet, you kind of feel the humanity a little bit as you go, as he gains some. Because the whole idea is that he touches this rock that the Covenant finds, and that kind of leads him to more of his humanity than most Spartans are used to.
Gotcha.
And that kind of leads him to break away from the directives a little bit, or start thinking more in line of what's the right thing to do versus what are my orders.
Okay. Now, I know that obviously people are curious about the Chief himself, but what about the rest of the surrounding cast? Because I saw the trailer, and I don't believe I recognize a lot of faces, but I haven't been reviewing movies for quite a while, so I probably don't recognize them nearly as much as you. How's everybody else? No,
it's a lot of fresh faces. You will eventually, possibly, maybe see Jen Taylor, who, I won't say who the character she plays, but if you know the game, then you should know who that is. So.
People that know Halo know who that is. So
then they should know who that is. She was there too, which is that was really cool to see her in person, because man, people it was nuts, because I've gone to so many of these things where the cast shows up and everything, and to see her get like so much of applause when she's visually not known very well. She's visually, so they knew her. Yep. They knew who she was. I mean, so you can tell they're Halo fans. Yeah. As for standout, Natasha McCallum plays Dr. Halsey. She doesn't really get much to do. She's just the doctor that's basically in charge of the Spartan project and doesn't want anything to happen to Master Chief, kind of thing. She's as pretty much as expected, but Yurin Ha plays Quan, and that's basically becomes the character that is basically Baby Yoda, I guess, because Master Chief has to take care of her at some point. Right. And she's great. Like, she's very talented. There's just a lot to her character as we go, because I don't want to say anything, but she gets emotionally impacted throughout the course of the show, and it really, really starts to play with her emotions, and she becomes conflicted, and she starts to learn to play some sides, and she does very, very well. Like, she's a newfound talent, and I think she's a great find. Like, she could really lead the charge for sure. I
am genuinely shocked to hear that it's as good as you were saying.
I loved it. Loved it, man. I honestly did. I only went to see it mostly for you and a couple other friends. It wasn't like I wasn't dying to see Halo, but I did want to see it. I mean, they sent do you want a review? Do you want review copies? I mean, as a critic, I get a lot of those opportunities, and they sent those to me, and I'm like, no, I want to see it for the first time in the theater. I think if I'm gonna, I want to see what that experience is like, because I knew that there might be some fans there, which would change the experience significantly. Because I love going to movies where you have people that love whatever the property is. It's always more fun. And that's what this was. I mean, this was like, it was so electric, and to see it in a crowd versus, on my big screen TV, I don't care what your sound system is. It's never going to come close to an experience like this. So don't tell me it's just as good. No, it's not. This was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Literally, Scott, when the sound it makes when the armor recharges in the game, the sound is in the show.
Oh,
and when it happened, woo! Like, people just lost their freaking minds. And they had so many nods to fans. I mean, it's rare that you get a show that pays real compliment to the fans of what it's based on, while also making its own thing. And it very much does that. And I think that's what people should be hoping for in a Halo show.
So even people that aren't fans of the series will, they've never played the games, have no idea who Master Chief is, are still going to have a good time?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are definitely people there. I mean, I was sitting next to people that had never played the game. We were talking while we're waiting for the Q&A. And if you've never been to South by, they always have a Q&A that follows with the cast and stuff. The people next to me had never played the game, and they're just like, why are all these people cheering? Like, when the sounds were happening, like, they didn't understand why people were clapping. So they asked me, because they knew I'd played, and I'm like, oh, that's the sound when his armor recharges. And the guy was like, they clap for that? I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool.
It was great. But they, it got over, and I asked him, I'm like, all right, so you don't know the games? He's like, I don't play video games. All right, so what did you think? He's like, it was actually really fun. Like, it was a very, very cool show. I like it. That's awesome. Of course, he compared it to Mandalorian because of the helmet. But he's like, it's like the Mandalorian, but not really. I'm like, not at all, actually. But yeah.
I hope it's not like the Mandalorian. No, it's not. I love the Mandalorian, but
it's not. It's just the helmet. The easy reference because of the helmet.
Gotcha. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for stopping by to talk about it. It's really cool to get kind of a sneak peek at this, even though I didn't get a chance to watch it myself. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
Sure.
And I know that you are covering much more than Halo at South by Southwest for the Hollywood Outsider. And you got all kinds of panels and things that people will be able to see. Where can people check that stuff out if they want to follow you guys?
Yeah, go to thehollywoodoutsiders.com. I think our episode will come out 22nd or 23rd, something like that. And we will have excerpts from some of the panels, including Halo's panel. So we'll have some of the Q&A for people to listen to if you want to hear a little bit more about it.
Very cool.
Thehollywoodoutsiders.com, if I didn't say. Did I say that? I don't know.
You did.
I'm tired. I don't remember what I said. I know. Halo rocks. Go watch it on Paramount Plus. It's worth a subscription. Don't be a cheap bastard. Go watch it.
Well, you sold me. I think you sold me just on the text messages alone. So I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like the massive Halo fan that a lot of our listeners are. I love the games, don't get me wrong, but I don't get deep into the lore, and I've not read the books like some people have. Some people just really get into it, and I'm really happy that it sounds like they'll be satisfied.
One guy shouted that one, which you're not supposed to shout your questions. They don't like that very much. You got to get up in line and ask. And one guy shouted his question, like, did you guys read the books? And of course, like, yes, sir. Yes, we did. which is really good. So I definitely should check that out and watch Halo when it's out.
All right, will do. Well, I will let you get back to writing. I know you got a lot of things to catch up on and cover for your site, but thanks again, man. Really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem, man. And thanks, everybody. There's no such thing as a bad game. Just games that aren't good enough for your ass.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Have a good one, man.
See ya.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and sharing that with us. A lot of those sound very, very cool. Moving on, before we get to our topic of the week, want to remind everybody about our social media social media outlets. First off, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We've got a great community over there where I try to keep updated with all of our content as well as any news items that I come across. We've got a new member over there by the name of James Hopkins, so welcome to the group. Hope you're enjoying it. Also, our Discord server, there's a link for that in the show notes for this very episode. If you'd like to join, we got lots of good conversations going over there, including channels on things not so much related to video games like sports and movies and even a not safe for work channel. So be sure to check that out. Also, drop us a review if you get a chance wherever you listen to the podcast. It helps us get the word out there. And lastly, check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. There you will find all our content, as well as occasional reviews and or editorials that we may write. And we do appreciate you checking it out. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. For this week's topic, I thought we'd talk about video game documentaries. Do we watch them? And if so, which ones do we recommend? So before we get into specifics about the video game ones, do you guys enjoy watching documentaries at all? I mean, even non-video game ones?
Watch a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny that we get that. The three of us being such gamer nerds that we are, love documentaries so much. Because when I was a kid, I would have rather,
gouge your eyes out with a spoon.
Seriously, like documentaries when I was a kid just seemed like, why would anybody ever want to watch that? Like there's so much entertaining stuff, and now I just can't get enough of them.
Documentaries are an old person's game.
I know, and I've been old for a while.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you're so old, Zach. So what other stuff do you guys enjoy? I mean, besides video game stuff?
Space.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I watch a lot of space documentaries. Neil deGrasse Tyson, as you know, he's my boy. Animals, history. A little bit of everything. If it's a well put together documentary, I'll watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zach, how about you?
I think I pretty much watch documentaries about video games, to be honest.
Mostly.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of movie documentaries, especially the stuff you would get on the Blu-rays,
Mm-hmm.
But I think, I don't know, there was a certain point where those were really good, and you would really see the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, and you'd kind of see the conflicts on set even sometimes. But even The Last Jedi has a really good one, The Director and the Jedi, which is basically just 90 minutes of how Mark Hamill and Rian Johnson could not agree on Luke Skywalker at all.
Oh wow. That sounds fascinating. It's
really good. It was on Disney Plus, and they removed it. I don't know if they put it back up again or not, but it's really good. But I've always liked those kind of documentaries. But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, especially superhero ones have gotten really boring and very sterile.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of fell out of that habit. I really miss director's commentaries.
Oh, where they do a voiceover while the movie's going?
Yeah, that stuff was always very insightful.
I was going to say, the last time my wife and I were actually just talking about this the other day, but I haven't seen director's commentary tracks since the early Blu-ray days.
Well, I feel because a lot of that is probably because people are buying digitally more. Are those bonuses on digital copies of movies?
Some of them do have them.
Yeah, okay.
But they've become fewer and farther between.
Well, because I feel like people to get to them. I don't feel like the menu is right in your face as it used to be on DVDs and Blu-rays.
Well, and also there's always so much content that you spend less time with each individual piece of media.
Right.
I think just director's commentary in general are probably a harder sell. And I've always wondered, maybe that stuff was on streaming at first and nobody cared.
Right.
Right. Because maybe they put it on those DVDs and Blu-rays thinking everybody cared when nobody actually really did.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is definitely possible. But I know that you could still, now most often you can like find Christopher Nolan or Rian Johnson uploading it themselves to their website or whatever.
I was going to say, or you can probably watch a lot on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's somebody's got it somewhere. So,
right.
Anyway.
Like the Matrix movies had philosopher commentary tracks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Man, I kind of want to go do that now.
Oh,
That'd be fascinating.
The best is when you get the cast together, but they're all drinking.
Yeah.
And just swapping stories while like the movie's playing. I love those.
Yeah, those are
and I realize we're still on a tangent, but there's like a really good Scott Pilgrim one where it's all the side characters.
Oh, really?
And they're just like, every scene they're not in, they're like, yes, he's terrible. And you're like, yeah, Michael Cera, what a D-bag. And it's just really funny. But it's like Brie Larson and, you know, all the side kicks. It's really funny.
That's pretty funny. Chris Evans.
He didn't make it. Probably too busy making 16 Captain America movies.
Probably.
To stop by for a Kieran Culkin was there.
Okay, yeah. For me, I like some true crime documentaries a lot. I actually watched a series this weekend that popped up on Netflix that I had never seen and watched it. It was something about like
The Worst Neighbors.
World's Worst Roommate or something like that. It's only 5 episodes, and each of them is a self-contained story. And holy cow, people are messed up. Like, just some of the things that people will do to screw each other over and or murder one another.
Where did you watch this? Sorry,
it's on Netflix.
Oh wow,
they're like 40 minutes each. The first one is like about a 70-year-old woman. Like,
what'd she do?
She murdered like 8 people and buried them in her backyard in the middle of Sacramento.
That's awesome.
And
in the worst way possible, of course.
And what?
In the worst way possible, that is awesome.
Oh, it's just insane that and the way that stuff was discovered, and she looks like this sweet old lady, and like it could be your grandma. And come to find out, like, you know, she grew up as a prostitute and eventually became a madam of her own brothel, and you know, went to prison for a little while and then was on parole, and it's just messed up. And she just looks like somebody's grandma. And I have so many questions when I watch that episode, though, because again, she's, you know, 70. How is she? My wife and I were actually watching it together, and we're like, how is she moving these bodies? You know, I mean, she's 70.
Just like physically.
Yeah, like physically, how is she doing this? So, yeah, true crime. I loved Making a Murderer? Is that the one? I liked that first season so much, and then the second season kind of went downhill. Man, there's just so many messed up.
Tiger King.
No, not Tiger King.
Yeah, that really took the world by storm, though.
The Jinx is
Jinx
outstanding.
is great. Jinx is outstanding. Absolutely.
Especially when you watch the Jinx and realize that because of that documentary, arrests were made.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That guy just died recently, actually.
Oh, no.
Durst. Yeah.
Yeah, how sad is that? I'm really
sad.
Right. Yeah.
But the if you haven't seen that show, the final 5 minutes is some of the most bone-chilling stuff. I could literally feel my heart pounding while I was watching it, waiting to see what was going to happen. Really
final
good.
5 minutes is worth the whole watch.
Yeah, seriously. And it's only 6 episodes. It's really good. So I could list off a whole bunch of true crime ones, but the one about the hotel in California.
Oh yeah, where Richard Ramirez stayed. The Night Stalker.
Yeah, he did wind up. Oh, I just watched the Night Stalker one recently too.
That's really good.
That's really messed up. That dude was like, he's the dude that was like getting taken into court, and he's like, "Hail Satan," and he's got a Star of David like on his hand and holds it up and says, "Hail Satan," like in court. It was on live TV or something.
What's crazy is he's not even like close to like the top 5 serial killers.
Yeah, it's crazy. That story is insane. Like just how meticulous he was and how good he was at covering up his tracks. And anyway, yeah, true crime is the documentaries I would say is a second love next to video game documentaries. So, well, let's go into it. What are some video game documentaries that you guys go, or maybe series that you'd recommend for people to check out?
Well, for you, Scott, I have one called Special When Lit.
That was on my list.
Yeah.
I really like that documentary. I learned a lot about pinball watching that one.
Yeah. It's all about pinball. That one's really, really good.
I had no idea pinball was illegal at one point because they considered it gambling.
What, the 1930s to the 1970s?
Mm-hmm. It was considered like pachinko machines.
Well,
even though there was no payouts.
What were the prizes?
Yeah.
It was just gambling. You could win more games.
That's what it was. Is you could, if you get a high enough score, you could play again for free.
Yep. Chasing Ghosts is a really good one.
Yeah.
The Atari, the Game Over, the Atari one about Alamogordo. I know we've all seen High Score, which is really good. With some of them, like I have like the podcast documentaries as well in my head. There's Masters of Doom, which is the story of the id Software guys, like John Romero and John Carmack.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the most fascinating listens to how much those guys hated each other.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw books into it, I feel like Masters of Doom would be my top recommendation. Like, it's just a phenomenal audiobook, especially.
Yeah, but I've actually there was a side podcast that went with it that had even more stories.
Oh, okay.
Well, you just sold me because I am finishing up my last Harry Potter book. So in April, I will be getting Masters of Doom.
Yeah, Masters of Doom is phenomenal. Especially like how that all came to be.
Oh, there's so much ego.
Oh,
when you get to their story with Nintendo, it's awesome. It's just awesome.
And see, I had no idea that was even a thing.
Yeah, neither did I.
Anyway. They wanted to port one game to PC.
We gotta stop selling with the sale is made. You know.
Yeah.
I'm not telling the game.
No, I understand. I understand.
But actually, like, I can't really consider it a documentary because I almost feel like it's a mockumentary in a way. But King of Kong,
that's a documentary.
It's very slanted. Granted, yes, I absolutely despise Billy Mitchell.
All documentaries are slanted.
That is true. Yeah,
it is true. But that one goes above and beyond. Granted, I love Steve Wiebe. And I absolutely despise Billy Mitchell, but like that whole saga, I want a sequel to be made. Like, of everything that's happened since the end of that one, like about him being discredited, and then like the fact that it renewed like a whole new generation of Donkey Kong players, and like both Steve Wiebe and Billy Mitchell aren't even in like the top 5 anymore.
Right, crazy. But that documentary and those two guys are the reason that everybody else showed up.
Yeah. But for me, like Chasing Ghosts is one of my favorites, bar none.
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
It's about tracking down all the guys from the Time magazine spread that was done in Autumna, Iowa, where like when arcades were at like their peak. And so they had like Billy Mitchell, Todd, like basically a bunch of people that have been discredited for illegal scores.
Oh, okay.
But there was a picture spread that was done with them in Autumna, Iowa, of them standing in front of their respective machines, and they got them all together to do like a new one. It's really a fascinating story to like hear their viewpoints throughout like the 80s on like how they became who they are because of video games.
Right.
Which is why it's called Chasing Ghosts.
Gotcha. There's a lot of them I haven't seen. Some of the popular ones I have not. But for me, I mean, I started getting into video game documentaries late. So like Indie Game the Movie. You remember that one that had like Phil Fish and...
Oh, yeah, that was great.
The guy from Super Meat Boy.
Ed McMillan.
Ed McMillan.
Well, Tommy Raffine's his name as well. The other team
game
guy.
It was Fez, Super Meat Boy, and I feel bad I can't remember what the third game that they were covering is.
Jonathan Blow?
Was it? It was Braid. You're right. Yeah, it's Braid. That was a fascinating watch, and it made me really not like Phil Fish too much.
Well, he's a hard guy to like.
Yeah, that was interesting. One of my all-time favorites is, I know this is an easy answer, but Video Games the Movie. And I'm a little biased because I actually interviewed the director when I was over at the Hollywood Outsider, and that was a time in my life which I feel like it's not even just that, it's just me all the time. I'm constantly trying to get people into games that are not games, and I feel like that movie was a love letter to my hobby, and it was a way for me to explain to people, this is why I like games. You know what I mean? Because they had recognizable faces. I mean, Sean Astin was the narrator. You had Wesley Crusher. Why can't I think of his real name? Will Wheaton. Thank you.
Yeah, I just drew a blank too.
You know, they had Will Wheaton. They had Cliff Bleszinski. They were interviewing recognizable faces, and they were talking about why they like games so much and why we have this hobby outside of it's just a nerdy thing to do. We genuinely, have a love for it and why. So I really like that. Outside of that, the other one that I recommend, and I got into this recently actually with you, CB. I assume that Zach's going to have a lot of YouTube channel recommendations. But there's one that stood out to me. It was like the Gaming Historian.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things I really like because I feel like I'm actually getting educated on the history of video games and learning the story behind games that I've loved and played for decades now. And just learning those stories are just so much fun and realizing what went behind those things. What was the one documentary, CB, about the guys that like made a mod of Ms. Pac-Man and then they, God, what was it? That's how they got their start, was like making modified versions of Ms. Pac-Man or of Pac-Man, and then it turned into Ms. Pac-Man. It was like the story of.
I know the one you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it.
It was just fascinating. I was like, how have I never heard about this? Why is this not talked about by everybody? So I don't know. Yeah, Gaming Historian was fascinating. Just you go to YouTube and type in a game that you like and Gaming Historian, and there's a good chance that there might be an episode on it, and they're very in depth. And he does it in a way that's not condescending, like he expects you to have a whole bunch of background knowledge.
Well, I mean, it feels very much like a traditional documentary.
Right. It doesn't feel like this nerdy thing. It just feels like a history lesson, and I really like that a lot. Those are the big ones on my list. There's one that I have not watched that I really want to, called Nintendo Quest, which is the guy that
it's really good.
Yeah, that's the one where the guy is trying to collect every Nintendo game, like CB has.
I was gonna say, is it just CB in the video?
No. Isn't it like in what amount of time? Was it like a month?
He had to collect 678 games in 30 days.
Right.
But he couldn't use he couldn't use like Craigslist or eBay.
So he had to actually go to stores and buy them.
Yeah, he couldn't use the internet to do it.
Right.
So he had to like grab phone books or like have people recommend where to go.
Mm-hmm.
What is actually, is this YouTube? What is this?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay. What's it called?
It's actually it's called Nintendo Quest.
Okay.
Nintendo Quest.
That sounds fun.
It's also on Tubi, if you're familiar with that platform.
Yeah, I think my TV came with Tubi.
I will say though, for those out there listening, if you want to watch like basically a recreation of when I bought Little Samson, it's in that movie. Because he is there. Buying one game and just it shows how stressful like I do say for a documentary, it does show how stressful video game collecting can be.
Yeah.
So
how much did he pay for it back when that movie was made? Do you remember?
Less than $1,000. Like his big one was Stadium Events.
Oh, he had an actual legit copy of Stadium Events?
Yeah. And
I will never own that game.
Watching what he went through to get his copy was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But see, like his numbers are skewed at 678. He's going off the Canadian list because he's from Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what a real skewed. That's not American.
Well, there actually is differences. Like their list is different than ours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can only go off the list he has, man.
You want to do the hardcore? You go the Japanese list.
I was gonna say, I think I have more than 678 games.
But you also have some aftermarkets.
You guys both took longer than 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I haven't bought a game in 30 days. It's getting hard to find it without, and it's so expensive. But
Yeah, it's outrageous.
anyway, I am eagerly anticipating to hear what's on Zach's list because Zach has such a knowledge of the industry that I am insanely jealous of, and I would love to pick his brain and know where to start to get even a fraction of his knowledge. So what do you got, man?
Oh, boy. Well, for one thing, I think you said console wars, which I find interesting.
Well, I haven't seen it, and I haven't read the book yet.
I've seen it. To me, the book was a far superior version.
Well, sure. But, anyway, I think that was really great. I want to say it was Paramount or something.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track of all of it.
Yeah, right.
I guess going to YouTube, some easy recommendations I would say would be obviously The Gaming Historian. There's Game Brain, which kind of goes into like very niche things. Like I believe his latest documentary was about how they figured out player stats in 2K basketball.
Wow.
Like it's very, very micro looks, which I think is super cool. Obviously, excuse me. There's Wrestling with Gaming is a good one because he'll make documentaries about like peripherals and stuff, like about the VMU or what have you. I think that's really fun. Let's see. And then I guess a big one would be No Clip, right?
No Clip?
No Clip is Danny O'Dwyer, who used to work at GameSpot's documentary company. It's just a Patreon. That's all they do is make video game documentaries. There's a lot of great ones on there. There's a really good Hotline Miami one, but I think the Demon's Souls remake one was really interesting and how they go about remaking games over at Bluepoint. And all of their stuff with Looking Glass and how Thief was made and, all my stuff with my boy Warren Spector over there. There's a lot of good stuff. So, I mean, I think the easiest stop I would say is No Clip if you're just looking for some deep dives, because they're usually an hour to 90-minute movie, like high production value. It's just Danny O'Dwyer's there, which is hit or miss, I guess. And I think that's it. Mr. Hammers makes really good documentaries about like the Xbox PS2 era of games. So I don't know how much that would appeal to you guys, but for me, that was, my childhood. So that's kind of good stuff. I mean, I watch a great deal of video essayists, but just a handful of documentarians. But I guess No Clip would probably be the one-stop shop for like general documentaries.
And you said that's a Patreon subscription?
Well, I mean, all their videos are on YouTube, just straight up. It's just they're Patreon supported, so that's important, in my opinion, because it's people funded, not company funded. So you can trust it a little bit more.
Gotcha.
Which is good.
I mean, they're still getting ad revenue, probably, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I'm sure from YouTube or whatever. I'm just saying, like, nobody put them on assignment to go talk to these people. Like, these are companies they wanted to talk to, and I think they have a really good one on Doom. There's a Rocket League one that was really interesting. It's good stuff.
Cool. Sounds good. So those are ones that we recommend here. Let's hear from the community. We asked you guys out there to share some that you guys like, and tell us if you watch documentaries or not. And we started over on Facebook. I'll kick things off right here. Jason Rogers said, I enjoyed all 6 episodes of High Score on Netflix. Is that the one that was like a couple years ago that I felt like it was trying to push some stuff a little bit too much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Push some stuff.
I don't want to get political.
Okay. I'm curious. I don't think I've seen High Score.
We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
All right.
It was more or less, I wasn't trying to stir stuff up. I was just trying to make sure that's the one I was thinking of, because I actually think I dropped off on that one because I got annoyed.
There's certain political hot points that are pushed to a point that it almost feels like it's forced, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, we can avoid the Twitter war here. All
right, next one, CB.
Sean Coates. I do love a good video game documentary. Most recent one I watched was Console Wars on Paramount Plus. While I already knew the history and I'm myself a console war veteran, the movie did a great job of applying human faces to the story. It was a treat being able to see who the major players were on both sides. that essentially shaped our childhoods. Plus, I think it was funny that there are still some animosity and bickering over 20 years later. Lastly, if you ask me, I believe this era was video games at its peak. When two companies are in fierce competition, we, the consumer, benefit the most. Dude, I'm actually still, like, because myself, like, I grew up during the original video game wars.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's one of the things I love about this podcast is I got the chance to interview Tom.
Yeah, excellent.
Kaczynski.
Thank you. I almost said Selinsky. I'm like, no, that's the guy from Honey, I Shrunk Your Kids. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, but like just even hearing like straight from like his mouth, like some of the stuff that went on, like it's still mind-boggling. Like just getting to peek behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm. And hear it from somebody was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to mention Power On earlier, but I wasn't going to do it any better than Rachel Assendorf did. She says, I watch video game documentaries with Sean Coates whenever we see one that's interesting. A recent one we saw was about Xbox's story called Power On. This was produced by Xbox and put it for free on their YouTube channel. It was fascinating to see how the concept was started by some renegades within the company pitching their idea to Bill Gates and how they delivered on their promise. At first, it seems like a fluff piece, but they expand on their missteps and failures, rendering of death to anyone. The mistakes are owned, and it shows how the company was able to turn it around. I didn't expect too much, but it was very well put together and portrayed the backstory in an entertaining, engaging, and enlightening way. I think she's right. The first episode is a total fluff piece, and it's actually incredibly irritating to watch. Mm-hmm. But then the remaining 5 episodes are very good, and they actually do. She's right. They go into their failures and stuff. But, whoo boy, that first episode is a nightmare to get through. It's just a commercial for Xbox, pretty much.
It is interesting hearing the people pitching it to Bill Gates and him like cussing him out more or less on multiple occasions.
Well, that was the Valentine's Day massacre, as they call it, where they went to a meeting on Valentine's Day that was supposed to be 20 minutes, but it turned into like 12 hours because they had lied to Bill Gates or something, or like they had deceived Bill Gates on what the Xbox could do. Because it was basically supposed to be almost like it was supposed to be a direct Xbox, so it was supposed to basically just be like a PC in your living room or whatever. But then they're like, no, it's going to have to be a more dedicated thing. And he was like super mad and super angry. He's like, you wasted all my money, you wasted my time, you lied to me. But then by the end of the meeting, and this is just, like, this might get people to watch the documentary because it's just funny. Like, apparently they just get to like the last 45 minutes and just on a dime, he's just like, all right, so let's do it. So he just yells at these people for 10 and a half hours and then just goes like, actually, no, it's a good idea. Let's do it. Like, what?
Yeah. He's just tired of the meeting, apparently.
Probably.
It's just also funny because I forgot it was a thing, but they actually tried to make that console a giant X at one point. And they were showing like the inside, like how they were trying to put the motherboard at a diagonal angle and stuff like that. Goofy. I was like, I completely forgot that was a thing. That was pretty fascinating. I
especially love like in the documentary where I can't remember who it was, but they're just like, yeah, it was impractical. That was never going to work. Could you imagine that entertainment center? But you couldn't tell us to stop because we were just so dedicated to the idea of putting it in the shape of an X.
Right.
So funny.
Moving on to Discord. Farrah says, dude, oh heck yeah. G4 was great for this back in their heyday. That's where I found out things like I feel Steve Wozniak was the one who put in the real work at the founding of Apple. And that Mitchell dude has a resting smug face, by the way.
Do you guys remember G4 Icons?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that was a great show.
I miss G4. It's weird to feel nostalgic for that show because it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it was that long ago.
Did you remember when they said they were bringing it back and then it was a sad YouTube channel?
I didn't even try it. I didn't bother.
It's really bad. But G4, wow, what a moment in history.
Kevin Pereira. I love that dude.
It's hard for people to imagine, I guess, especially younger people probably don't even know what cable experience is like. But you can just come home at any hour of the day and flip to G4 before Cops got on there. And it was just a guaranteed television show about video games. Yep. It could be a competitive show, or it could be Judgment Day with Victor Lucas and Tommy Tallarico, or X-Play, of course. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Rewatching episodes of X-Play, even though I'd already seen it, just because that's all there was. There was not YouTube. There was not Twitch.
Substantial amount of X-Play, and a lot of Attack of the Show reruns were like Olivia Munn's dressed sexy or looking something.
I was going to say, that's where Olivia Munn got her kind of start, wasn't it?
Yeah, now she's a bona fide movie star, right?
Yeah.
All
Crazy.
right. Mark Szymanski. I would love to see a list of favorite films. The one about the Atari cartridges buried in the desert was good. The one about the guy trying to 100% his NES collection was also good. My favorite was the book Console Wars by Blake Harris. In-depth, interesting. I highly recommend it. So yes, Mark, the 100%, it's Nintendo Quest.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is worth a watch.
And the Atari one is Game Over. It's called Game Over. It's got a picture of the E.T.
I still want to go to Alamogordo.
Yeah?
Yep, I want to make the trek.
There's still got to be stuff in there.
They openly said they only dug up like one section.
Yeah.
And that's where all those cards came from. And they're like, yeah, they buried something like 2 million cartridges there.
It's just nuts.
So
crazy.
Kevin Honigford writes in, I have simply not a TV or movie guy. I have read a few, though. The Console Wars was a massive wealth of 90s behind-the-scenes info. Extremely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
whenever we get together with Kevin, it's like, have you seen this movie? And he's just like, no, I haven't seen it. It's mostly with TV shows. He's like, I've never seen it, never heard of it.
I understand. I think I learned last year I'm not really a TV guy anymore either.
Really?
I haven't even caught up on Ozark yet, and I love Ozark. It's just,
oh my goodness, dude, you
really need to.
You got to.
All right.
Nate Lucas says, as your picture suggests, I had put a picture of King of Kong on there. King of Kong was a great documentary. I love to see an update on all the newer legal issues surrounding Billy Mitchell and his records being removed. As far as recommendations, Gaming Historian, Nintendo, and My Life in Gaming, all on YouTube, are great for learning more about the industry as a whole, as well as learning about hidden gems, game and console history, as well as showcasing unique gaming peripherals. What was the one that I was watching with UCB?
This Gaming Historian.
No, not that one. There was another one with this game that was so convoluted to beat. It was like insane to finish this game. I cannot remember what it was.
Little Red Hood.
No, it wasn't that. I cannot remember. It was like one of the most difficult games. Like, in order to solve the puzzles, it was intentionally obtuse. And watching this guy do it, he was very entertaining. I'm not being very specific here, but I just thought of it. I could have swore I was watching that with you.
Because the only thing that pops into my head is the angry video game nerd playing.
No, you know what it was? It wasn't you. I was watching it with Christina's son, Dom. He was over and showed me this thing, and I had never heard of it, and I was fascinated by what I was watching. Like, what is this game?
I want to know what game it is now.
I will ask Christina to ask Dom, or I'll just ask Dom, because that was a messed up game. I was like, how did this thing get made? Just did not make any sense, but I'll look it up remind me.
Okay. All right. Aaron Hughes the second. Yes, I'm a documentary fan generally, but one's about games that have always been fun. To get to know the deeper ins and outs of the industry, I've been in since birth. Essentially, it's exhilarating. For recce's?
Recommendations.
For recommendations.
Little recce's.
What is recce's? From recce's, I gotta add in Console Wars High Score, which is actually a docu-series, Indie Game the Movie, Video Games the Movie, and Atari Game Over. Covers the gamut of the industry for a good weekend viewing. This kind of hit me as we were talking over the last couple ones, but when talking with some of these people or meeting some of these people at like video game shows, it is interesting because you have this like preconceived notion of them. Like when we met Billy at the Midwest Gaming Classic. Mm-hmm. Still think he's an utter tool, but Walter Day, he is just a sweet old man.
He really is.
So, but
like I get the impression that if he had his way, he wouldn't be charging people for anything. Like, he just wants to hang out with everybody.
Yeah,
that's what it feels
really
like
does.
talking to him. Yeah,
but I really hope that just more and more of these like get made or pushed into the limelight. Like, I every time a new gaming historian one comes up, I'm excited because I'm like, hey, yay, learn something new.
Man, I went back and watched like the Metroid one, and just like learning about how that game came about was pretty cool. I love it. And then you just get to the nostalgia trip as well of like hearing some of that old school music, and while they go through it, it's just comfort food and, you know, enlightening at the same time.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, that was fun, guys. Thanks so much, everybody that wrote in with your responses. Hopefully everybody has a good list of documentaries to check out. And let us know on this episode when we get it posted on social media which ones you checked out and what you thought of them. I'd love to hear some feedback from there. As for next week, want to give everybody a heads up. We're going to be taking a break from the Gaming Outsider for just 1 week. We have not taken a break in, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
We're going to give our producer a week off. So he's been doing these podcasts for us for free for quite a while now, and we needed some time off. So there will not be an episode next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a full episode. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And since it's so far away, we don't have a topic lined up yet, but we will have one posted on social media in the very near future. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Gaming Outsider. Zach, do you have any parting words before we get out of here, or any recommendations? Any recce's?
A little recce action. Elden Ring has so many over-the-top Berserker references, which makes a lot of sense since Kentaro Miura died. That I went back and I'm a diehard fan of the manga. I often refer to it as the second best story ever told, and I love the manga to death. But I've always stayed away from the anime and movies because of dread fear. Because how could they possibly be as good? And so I watched the 2016 anime. Garbage. Absolutely garbage. Just really bizarre decision-making happening in that show. Very cheaply made. For some reason, his giant sword made out of a huge heap of iron makes a hollow, like, aluminum clang sound when it hits something. Very distracting. I think I'm going to keep watching it anyway, because it's the only content covering that era of the manga. But Netflix has a trilogy of movies that are basically the start of the manga on Netflix, and those are actually really good so far. I'm surprised actually has a budget, and just, you know, it's the first time I've seen these characters with voices. It was kind of weird because for however many years since I played, you know, Dark Souls or whatever, and got into Berserk, I've avoided all the extra material because how could it hold a candle? But
so how do I know which one to look for? Because how do I know to avoid? How do I know which one is which? If you go on Netflix,
Berserk it's just the 3 movies on there, and they're numbered. It'll say Golden Age, Act 1, 2, and 3.
Gotcha.
But The Egg of the King is the first one. I think you would like it, Scott. It's I always try to sell people on it. Back when Game of Thrones was popular, I would say it makes Game of Thrones looks like it's targeted towards kindergartners.
Oh, all right. I mean, I was going to check it out anyway, regardless of that.
I think you would like it, man. I really do.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Plus the parallels to, you know, Elden Ring, which I'll be getting into soon. Sounds fun. So
I mean, there's a character in Elden Ring who's just straight up guts. It's insane.
Oh yeah,
who's the main character? I guess. Anyway.
All right. Well, Zach, a pleasure talking with you as always. Thanks for stopping by. And CB, anything that you'd like to say to the audience before we leave?
I mean, other than Elden Ring, the only things I've done outside of that is I've seen the new Scream and the new Batman.
Okay.
The new Batman has its moments. The new Scream, leaves things to be desired. I will leave it at that.
Really, that's a first negative review I've heard of Scream.
I feel there's things that they could have done that would have made it better.
Okay.
I think they chose the wrong villain.
I'm shocked. I've heard nothing but great things about that. I haven't seen it yet, so
there's a lot of it I loved, but the ending and the choice of villain to me just kind of left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Okay.
So
I think they should have named the Batman Jim Corden, GCPD.
would have been. Actually, come to think of it, I was actually happier with the Gotham TV show than I was the Batman.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an insane thing to say, and we'll just pretend you didn't say it. Keep this friendship intact.
I didn't make it very far in the Gotham show, so
I think Jeffrey Wright is the perfect Jim Gordon.
He is. But I meant overall, I think I enjoyed the Gotham TV series more than I did the movie.
What's that? I mean, it's got 5 years to work with.
Yeah. But I will say that is the best rendition of Jim Gordon I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
So
I love he keeps
He
calling
was awesome.
Batman man. Gotta get out of here, man. Nice car, man. He just wants to be friends.
but he's no nonsense as well, which is just great. Like,
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Good.
As for me, I watched The Atom Project on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Do you know? I didn't know anything about it. I just heard somebody rave about it. I'm like, I'll check it out. I like Ryan Reynolds, and holy cow, what a cast that movie get! You got Ryan Reynolds, Zoe Saldana, Mark Ruffalo, Catherine Keener is in it. Like, there's just quite Jennifer Garner.
Oh.
like 5 highly notable actors in there. It's a kind of a silly sci-fi story, but it's a lot of fun. Ryan Reynolds is from the future, like 2050, and he goes back in time to when he was like 12 years old and teams up with his 12-year-old self to save the world.
It looks very endearing.
It's endearing, and some of the special effects reminded me, and this is I hope this doesn't turn you off to it, because I don't really mean to, but some of the special effects just gave me a Spy Kids vibe.
All right.
oh no.
No. Like, it's not bad. It's just like, it's so flashy and over the top, and CB, you will love the soundtrack. It's all like 70s classic rock. It's well done. It's
just redeemed.
It's pretty emotional in terms of, like, father-son relationship type stuff and mother-son relationship stuff. It's worth a watch. It was I was really impressed. They do some cheesy stuff that you can see coming from a mile away, but it's over. Some of the acting is over the top and silly, but it was just a great popcorn flick to watch.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how Ryan Reynolds is it?
Like, on a scale of like 10 being Deadpool.
Right. Yeah. 10 being a Deadpool, 1 being voices.
Hey,
oh man, I like voices.
I love voices.
Hey, voices are great.
I would say like a 7.5 or 8.
Okay, that's softly Ryan Reynolds.
So it's like Free Guy.
Well, I was gonna say, Red Notice? He was really bad in Red Notice.
I still have to watch that one.
Oh, okay.
But the fun part about it is that the 12-year-old version of him is also very Ryan Reynolds. So seeing the two of them together is pretty funny.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like, he's got the same sense of humor and timing.
They casted the child well.
I think it's more of a fact. The kid is acting pretty well. Like, he's clearly trying to be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Then the kid is naturally like that. You know what I mean? But
I thought the trailer looked full of heart, which was nice.
It is. It's a fun movie. I would recommend it. So I would love to hear what you think of it and see if my comparisons are way off. The soundtrack is just really great. It's so good. Like, the opening track is I can't think of what the song is called. Give me some lovin'. Yeah. Give me some lovin'. Give me some love. Like, it's just so bizarre for like a movie that starts out in 2050. It's just kind of.
Is there at least one Journey song?
I don't remember a Journey song, so
sad.
But I don't remember every song. But it's pretty good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody out there, so much for listening. Would like to remind you again that The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.